that Gambit has kind of stepped up since he joined. You can just see like that's such an impressive thing to do as an in-game leader. And it just shows you how important it is to have one of those guys in your team. And when teams are missing it, it's very, very apparent. But he's obviously got this team on the right track. It helps when you have guys like Adren, not just like, you know, the kills he's getting, but like the fact that Adren is so experienced. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes in his game. Very fundamentally sound. So when you have guys like that to add in, you have a lot of tools to work with, and that's got to be lovely for him.
Yeah, he's definitely enjoying life. The other boys that are enjoying life right now are Fnatic, our other quarterfinalists. They match up quite well against this team. We've already talked at the top of the show, Robin, about how difficult their run through the group stage was. And I remember JW in an interview, I think it was day 2 or 3, he said, if we can get to the playoffs, we're a better team. Why do you think that is?
It's just the best of 3 mentality, right? I feel like because Fnatic's map pool is actually quite deep, and we even saw that just the fact that they ended up playing Nuke versus Astralis, a map that for me I thought was going to be super one-sided, but just.
But you also wanted them to play Nuke.
I did. I feel like they have really good players for a map like Nuke. You have a lot of individual plays, really quick rotations. It really fits their playstyle essentially. So that's why I was always so surprised that they never really played it. But then obviously they picked out. They lost still, but
it was a good loss.
A good loss, as good as you can have.
Yeah,
as a loss.
The best loss you can get.
Yeah.
I think the cool thing with this team is, I think part of the reason why JW said, you know, if we make it out of groups, we make it into the playoffs, you'll see a better Fnatic than you've ever seen. I mean, obviously a little bit of that is a touch of bravado in there, just to kind of pump himself up and everything. But I think since this lineup has gotten back together and not getting out of groups, I think that's like a lot of pressure and a lot of stress on your shoulders. A team that was once like the most unbeatable lineup that we've ever seen in CS:GO. Some of the runs that they had, 7 tournament wins in a row at one point. You know, once you get bogged down by not getting out of groups, that's really, really tough to get over after you've had all that success. So the fact that they've finally done it, I think this is where a lot of that pressure goes away. You see the Flusha quote he gives at interview where it's like, you know, our goal is to do something stupid, but you know, do it with confidence, do something stupid with confidence. And like, if those plays are going to come out, if Flush is going to be back winning clutches the way he was, JW's had a phenomenal tournament so far. You're starting to see some of these tools that made them so dangerous come back to life. And then all of a sudden, this does become a brand new team.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the other key parts of this team, of course, is a man who has been at the top for many years, but has not had the best of 2017 so far. Looking to have a big major is Olaf Meister, and Sir Scoots once more grilled him.
Hello again, Sir Scoots here. This time I've got Olaf Meister, the world-famous Olaf Meister from Fnatic. How are you, buddy?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Usually, last time I interviewed you, I think it was a couple years ago, kind of a different Fnatic, a different era. You guys were rocking and rolling. You know, you've had these ups and downs. You were the team to beat, then you were in a slump. You had an injury for a little while. Let's walk through that. Like, what motivates a guy like you to be at the top of it, and then you go down a slump, then you get hurt? Like, what gets you back to this part? Like, what motivated you?
Just the love of the game. I mean, I want to play Counter-Strike 24/7. Like, I have to play it less now because of the injury. Like, I don't want to get it back and stuff like that. But, like, and especially being at the top, you want to get back to the top because when you were at the top, that was a really good feeling, and like everything went so smoothly, and it really affects, for me personally, like if I do bad in Counter-Strike, it affects my personal life. If I do really good, I'm so much happier as a person to everyone around me in my.
Yeah, and obviously your pedigree is
bad in Counter-Strike.
It's legendary. Literally, you've been in every single major.
Really good,
made it
so
out in the playoffs of every single major. First 2 were with LGB, right? And then you joined Fnatic, and it's been Fnatic ever since. Obviously, you've got a couple actual major wins under your belt as well. So you know, you've been to the top of the mountain, so to speak. So I guess that desire to get back is even more important, right? You're still ranked 13th, so let's not kid ourselves. It's not like you're at the bottom of the heap. And you know, you get those rankings have a lot of variance, right? So let's talk about, you know, coming in. You had 2 losses. You know, you went 3-2, right, to get out. Hard struggle, right? But you guys are never great in group play. You never make it easy on yourself. That's also part of your legendary status, right? I don't know why is that? You just warm up late?
I don't know. We always talk like if you do really good in the group stage, and if you go like 3-0 here, you get a day off, and we always used to joke about that back in the days when we were really good at let's go for 2 series. We can really have a day off here and like city, but we never ever have had a day off in my never.
And then your 2 losses, I mean, no slouches, you lost to VP and you lost to SK, right? So walk me through those 2 losses. VP on Cash, 16-11. What jumps out at you about that match?
VP kind of surprised us in the veto. We weren't expecting some bans that they did, so they kind of outplayed us in the veto, to be honest. But then again, Cash is a map that we should be able to play better on against VP. Like we always used to play close games, and we just had a really bad T side. They closed us, and I think they stacked, like not stacked, but they were always like, when we wanted to go mid, there were 3 guys there. When we wanted to go A, there were 3 guys there. They kind of read us the whole time. And then as CT, it was really hard for us because we were so much behind, but we were really close to doing a comeback. And yeah, they just closed it out.
And then SK, Astralis, you played them on Nuke. Yeah. Poster match, 16-14. Good map for them, obviously. Good map for you in that sense. What are you taking away from that one, other than Nuke is Nuke?
I don't think that they were ready for us to. We wanted to play Nuke against them. We had a game plan, and we didn't. We made a few mistakes. They have a lot more experience on it, so I think they can adapt faster than we can. But we have been practicing it a lot and made a lot of progress on it. So.
And now, fast forward, you're going to be playing inside here, packed house, a team you've played before at majors, right? Gambit, sound familiar? Quarterfinals. Thoughts on that one? Obviously, now we move to best of 3s, which everyone loves more anyway.
Of course, we're happy with the draw, but we can't underestimate Gambit. They're a really strong team, and we have played them so many times in so many different maps. We know them a lot, and they know us a lot, so it's going to be a tough game, and I think that they surprise a lot of people here. It's going to be a fun game.
Yeah, that addition to Zeus has really just done something to those guys. It's really, he's fired them up. So now, lucky you, if you win that, you get the winner of SK Astralis, right? Any thoughts on who's going to win that one?
I think that SK is going to win. I mean, what can you say? They are, what have they won, like 5 tournaments in a row or something like that, so I'm gonna go with them.
Fair enough.
But
are you gonna beat them? Are you gonna beat them then?
That's the goal, man.
And I guess in a way, if you do win it, you got that team out of the way early. But still, like the odds of going out early are drastically increased.
Everybody says that when you're on the top. I used to say that as well, but in the end, you always want the easy way.
Like, wait for the hardest at the final, right? Yeah, makes sense.
I want to play them in the final.
Makes sense. That's the bravado of it. Well, we can beat them now.
Yeah. You have to beat them.
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. So the other side of the bracket, Big takes on Immortal, and North takes on the hometown favorites, VP. So that first one, Big Immortals, what do you think?
Man, like Big has surprised me so much, and like. I want to say Big, but I think more is going to do it.
And then, of course, we've got the hometown guys, Virtus Pro and North, and they have this crazy rivalry on social media going on right now as well, right? And playing each other a lot. I mean, odds, fans, everyone probably thinks Virtus Pro is going to take this home crowd all the way to the finals, but are your thoughts on that? You think they can?
I think they can for sure. It's a major. They've been playing really good. They're going to get more and more confidence, like, for every win they get. And last game, it was really close in Mirage. They played them in the group stage, right? And I think that Virtus Pro should have won that, so I'm going to go with Virtus Pro on that one.
All right. So then, if you look all the way to Sunday, you're taking on Virtus Pro in the finals? Yeah?
I'm taking on somebody on the finals.
All right. Fair enough. All right, any final words you want to say to your fans and the folks in the audience?
I just want to say thank you for cheering for us, even though we haven't done that good lately. And also, I want to say Siema to all the Polish fans.
Thank you very much. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
One of the legendary players in Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Olof Meister, talking to Sir Scoots there, a man who has been every single playoff along the way. It doesn't matter where he's playing well or badly, always finds a way to get to that top 8. And also, gents, it's the 3rd consecutive major they faced Gambit in the quarterfinals.
That's quite surprising.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you also look at the last major, different Fnatic lineup. They had a couple other guys in there. So, yeah, cool little story there, but I don't think it's going to mean a whole lot, especially considering I think this Gambit as well is the first time we've seen Gambit look dangerous in series play, in the best of threes. That's where they've always kind of stumbled in the past. But this one, if you have Adren playing in this way, if you have this team now feeling confident, because even they had a boot camp before this event where, because they didn't go to Cologne, where they said things weren't going well. They actually said that the boot camp was almost a little bit of a disaster. They were losing everything. And it is funny how that works. There are tournaments where you go into it losing everything. Everything's gone wrong in practice. You just get destroyed by everyone online, and then for whatever reason, it all clicks, it all works at the actual event itself. So I think that's what they're experiencing a little bit here.
This team is a legendary team, Robin. It has incredible lineup with the 4 that they've got, all previous winners, either won twice or they've won 3 times. Dennis is the man that hasn't won one yet. Do you think the burning desire will show through here? No,
I mean, definitely. And when we were doing the rundown yesterday versus Fnatic, I mean, Dennis for me is he wins you pistol rounds, right? And when you win pistol rounds, on his own, and when you win pistol rounds, then you tend to win games. So I can definitely see him being really hungry into getting his major win as well. All right,
we're going to get more from you in just a moment, but I'm hearing the teams are ready backstage. So, ladies and gentlemen, at home, wherever you're tuned in around the world, and here in the Toron Arena, here's your teams.
Leader Zeus is a legend in the CIS scene, having won numerous majors in CS 1.6, but a CSGO major has thus far eluded him. Following his dismissal from Na'Vi, the team he founded, the king of slow-paced CS is looking to bring his band of misfits to a deep finish. Youngsters Hobbit and Mao are steadied by the rock-solid consistency of Adrian. And this team is never one to be trifled with. Welcome on stage, Gambit Esports. Four of their players have won multiple majors playing together. JW and Flusha are the game's most decorated names. Olaf and Krims are the best duo in history. Yet, Fnatic have struggled to hit such highs in 2017. Seeking to recapture their powerful play of last year, they rely upon talent and team play to win their rounds. Will CSGO's most legendary core once more battle to a major final? Welcome on stage, Fnatic.
Okay, we're hoping for more coordination during the game, has to be said, but the gents will find their way to their booths eventually. Slightly confusing because it is, of course, opposite the other side of the booth, so they'll get there eventually. I guess we should probably talk about Fnatic in the sense that they have to reach the final here if they want to promote that legacy that they had with winning 2, winning 3. But it's a difficult road, this top half of the bracket.
Yeah, obviously the stretch of having to go through SK or Astralis is a big deal, but even more so, I mean, just getting there for this team would be huge at this point with everything that they've kind of gone through and all the struggles they've gone through. Just arriving at the finals would be phenomenal. I think it'd be sick if this was like the Fnatic that just for some reason just showed up like the old school Fnatic and just won the whole thing. I think it'd be great, but that next matchup, right? If they do happen to get through this one, that next matchup is going to be tough. That's going to be the roadblock.
Yeah, SK versus Astralis in the same side of the bracket as these two. On the other hand, Gambit have a little bit of a curse to break here, Robin. We all know they come to an end eventually. Is this third time the charm?
I mean, possibly. The way they've been playing, yeah, they have all the tools to make it further than quarters, but stopping them might also be a very dangerous Fnatic. A Fnatic that's been just very good throughout this group stages. A Fnatic that we really haven't seen at all this year.
Why do you think that is? Magic?
No, I think it's a little bit of both. I think that, I mean, the biggest thing that they were saying, especially with their playstyle, is mostly individual play, and then with that comes you need good communication and you need good teamwork. And we've seen just small little things that Fnatic tends to do, and especially during their prime, just stuff that people aren't necessarily thinking of, and it's like really small things where an example on Mirage, for example, Offmice comes up A ramp, he shoots once to just lure it was actually Simple, he was luring Simple to watch A ramp, and then Fnatic have 2 players from Palace just insta-peeking, and then Simple is always watching A ramp. It's just very, very small things. The Fnatic has always been really good at inventing, essentially, and that's what makes them so deadly, and that with that, like I said, comes communication, and so far this tournament, they did say that was their main thing they had to work on. I definitely feel that they've improved drastically on that.
Is the problem also related to the fact that the teams in this kind of maybe 4 down to maybe 25 in the world are much closer than they've ever been before?
Sure.
I mean, in the sense that if you have a bad day, you're going to get beat by most of those teams.
We're starting to see more of those teams kind of do upsets in like the BO1s, right? And I think this is a Fnatic that we could have seen for the past 2 months, but I mean, there is a lot of truth to what JW said, where we get a little unlucky in some of the draws that they've had. I mean, they've been unlucky in the sense that they've won the games that they need to win in the past, and like a team like SK will get upset, or a team like Astralis will get upset, and then they end up having to face them to make it out of the groups, or be in some tiebreaker with SK and Envy at EPL finals. So it doesn't always in this system come down to, in some of these group stage systems, it doesn't always come down to how you win. It also matters who else is losing and who you're going to match up with at the end, and they've gotten unfortunate in that sense. So I think this is a Fnatic that we could have seen if they'd made it out of group stage in the past. I think if that pressure was removed a little bit ago, we could have seen like a very, very dangerous Fnatic coming into this major, and I think now we're just finally getting it.
JW's had a good tournament so far, Robin. Important player as ever, but is he the one that you want to see step up on a regular basis? Do you want to see some of the other guys, some of the big guns coming out and firing? We talked about Dennis's prowess in pistol rounds, for instance, but do you want to see more from the rest of the team? I
mean, their best player statistically for all the majors has always been Flusha. So it's Flusha that you're kind of looking into here. Hope that he's going to show up a little bit more in the playoffs. He did have some nice rounds, some nice clutches, and then the guy in the video, Olofmeister, with Scott, best player in the world back in 2015. Yeah. He was just so good individually. Just the fact that it's like, just opens up maps. Maps like training, we just run our T connector and you just kill people. And that's kind of like what we compare him to Cold Sarah to this day, right? It's like Cold Sarah is so dominant, and that's exactly what Olofmeister was back in 2015.
Why is he not there now?
It's unrealistic, I think, to imagine that he's going to be able to keep up that level. I mean, the tough thing was he was so good that we even said that this Fnatic team, no matter how much they were winning, no matter what event it was, like the conversation was always like, if Olaf ever just drops off even a little bit, like this team is going to be in trouble. And like we see it when he had the injury, he fell off, and so did Fnatic, and they struggled to get back to that level. But if you weren't watching Counter-Strike in 2015, you missed a treat, because the Olaf even does things that Cold Zera doesn't do right now. I mean, this is a guy where entire tactics were based on him. Like, think Cobble. When Cobble first came out, teams like didn't really know how to play it. When like in some of the later iterations, and Fnatic just figured out, just send Olaf over to platform, and he's going to get you 2 kills, like pretty much like clockwork every single round. He's going to go, and no one could beat him. No one could outduel him. No one could outthink him in that kind of scenario. I mean, there was even an event Flusha gave a post-game interview after a win, and he's like, yeah, we just gave a timeout, and we just said, Olaf, go kill people for us. Just go win us the game. Like that was their entire conversation during a timeout, and he went and did it. So it's just like this guy. If anyone is going to get back to that level, I think Olaf would be the biggest tree we could have. But obviously, you can't go wrong saying any name on that team.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm hearing that we're moving towards the Map Vitosis players getting their final settings together, so we do have a little bit of time to fill in. Robin, it's the ideal opportunity to talk about when you played against these guys. What was it like playing? I mean, it was 2014-15. You had some of those matches against Olaf where he just went absolutely bonkers.
No, he definitely did.
How do you cope with a team when they do stuff like that?
It's really difficult, right? It's just even if you have you think you might have a really good idea on what they're doing, and one great example is JW, the way that his playstyle is. It's very random. When you watch the game, especially back in the day, you just felt that he played stupid. That was the mindset. It was just like he plays so stupid.
But he did it with confidence.
But he makes it work.
Right.
Just random push, especially we see he's still notorious from that to this day with pushing, buying Mag 7s, sawed-off shotguns, and just dropping everywhere and just playing really random. And even if you know what's going to happen, it's still extremely hard to play against. Right. And when you have that. So if JW plays well, and especially for this tournament, it does open up quite a lot of space, right? For players like Olaf Meister. Crims, for me, back in 2015, he was the guy who essentially made this whole the best single player to hold bomb sites, for example, on Inferno. Yeah. Like just the fact that it's like didn't necessarily get a lot of kills, but just the fact that he kept on staying alive, he kept on delaying the push, so his teammates could come in and just save him. And that was something that during that era was really difficult to do, mainly because of the overpoweredness of flashes and molotovs. It's like you can't really play just a solo on a person's side anymore. It was really difficult, and he kind of brought that back.
I can hear a tinge of annoyance in your voice as well, which means that you've suffered at the hands of Crims on bomb sites.
This lineup I've actually never lost to, so I'm quite okay with that. That was the first.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
I mean,
did you play this lineup?
Yeah, their first lineup ever in ESL 1 Cologne,
2014.
the major. Yeah.
Nice.
Played him in the final, never lost. But I might be very
So you're
correct.
what, 1-0?
But he retired straight afterwards. Like, just like that's it. I'm done. I've
going out on top.
Achievement ticked off.
Yeah. No, but they are very hard to play against. I think that when this team is on fire, when this team is communicating well, and their teamwork's on point, they're just extremely deadly. I think they can beat anyone in this tournament.
Got to rekindle that, though, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, just to touch on what Robin kind of spoke about, if you play against, I mean, and this goes with a lot of different players, but whenever you're in a match against someone who's just going off the way that Olaf can, like, you just, it is like mentally exhausting, because you're just like, what can we do? No matter what we call, like, he's going to be somewhere. We have to face him eventually. If we go at him, he's going to kill 2 or 3 of us. If we go away from him, he's going to come in and clutch the round. It just is like this kind of hopeless feeling. And it's funny because you heard some of that talking to Astralis after their SK game. They were just like, yeah, what are we going to do? Coldzera had one of the games where he just got 35 kills. Like, what can you do against that? There's not really much you can do.
No, just get on with it, I guess. I remember Anders commentating on a game with JW back, I think it was 2014 or 15, and he said it was something like, I don't think JW even knows what he's going to do, so how the hell did the other team figure it out?
He's like the master of that. And I mean, back in the earlier days before the op nerf, and this is a long time ago, he was just unbeatable in that sense. And this is a team that like has all these good players, but if you look at the way their styles kind of fit together, it's interesting because not a lot of teams can make this work. But you have someone like JW, just that aggressive, always creating space, always finding information, always aggressive, usually getting a kill off of his crazy plays. And then you have someone like Crims who can anchor down those bomb sites, like what Robin talked about, and that leaves guys, like Flusha, like Olaf, like Dennis, to be able to make plays across the map based off that information. They can rely on Crims to make the right decision, stay alive, to get them in better position. They can do so many different things, and it allows them to have the freedom to make the individual plays they like to make, and not a lot of teams can pull that off. It does require a high level of communication. It does require a high level of individual skills, and we've seen teams try and replicate it, and it just doesn't always, it rarely works out the same way that Fnatic have done it in the past.
We talked about Zeus and we talked about Hobbit and Adren. Hobbit and Adren, by the way, both inside the top 10 on HGL TV for this for the group stages at least. Yep. And we talked about the legendary status of Zeus as an in-game leader. What about Dozier? He seems to have been around for absolutely ever. I mean, I can't remember going to a tournament where I wasn't talking to him at some point in the future, whether it was 1.6, whether it was Counter-Strike Global Defense. He seems to have been around forever. How is that guy not 40 years old?
Maybe he is.
He might be.
No one knows, actually. No one knows. I remember in the beginning of CSGO when he was playing with his brother, Fox, in the the CS scene. A lot of yeah, no, he's been around forever in CS:GO and even in 1.6 before, and I think he's fallen off quite a bit as of late.
Yeah, he's not the star player he once was.
He's definitely not the star player. Very slow-paced player. Likes to just stand in one spot and wait.
This was supposed to be a really positive section on Dozier.
That's to my point. Because the fact that he likes to wait so much, people lose patience and they run into his crosshair and get kills. And that's great to have.
Yeah, well, he's playing in his 6th quarterfinal. How many did you have?
Well, quarterfinals?
Yeah.
I only played 3 majors, I think.
Oh. 3 for 3, though.
I'm 3 for 3.
Yep.
3 finals.
3 finals as well.
Oh, I know. Yeah, he's the only player in history to do it.
Way,
I can't win. I was trying with the stats, but there's no way you can actually beat Finn Laren with stats like that. So, yeah, he's playing his 6th quarterfinal, so plenty of experience on this side as well. I'm hearing that we're headed towards the veto. You can see the players just getting ready in the lobby. So let's turn our attention to maps in this one, because it's obviously very different for those that were tuning into the group stage. We had this brand new veto format. It did throw a few curveballs here and there. We're pretty much back to what we expect now. It's a best of 3. They're both going to choose their best map, you'd assume, and then we end up somewhere in the middle for the 3rd one.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is going to start being, I think it's a pretty cool curveball that Fnatic have because of how close that nuke game was versus Astralis. Is like now our team's going to be a little bit intimidated or scared of that. Or is Fnatic even was that map specific to Astralis, or can they bust that map out against other opponents as well? But I mean, right off the bat, you have to imagine Gambit's going to take away Mirage. It's a map that Fnatic loves to play. It's like one of their most played maps. Fnatic, you imagine, is going to take out Cobble, which is like the 2nd best map. Fnatic likes Overpass, so I imagine they'd leave that one in at least until later. The big thing is, Gambit has Overpass and Cobble. Those are like their overwhelmingly 2 best maps you have. And then when you get to the other ones after that, it's Train and Inferno. And Fnatic actually beat them on both of those maps at DreamHack Summer. So you do get a little bit of a risky situation. I think we'll see definitely one of those maps, one of those either Train or Inferno in this series.
Yeah, and it was actually quite funny, that event, the DreamHack Summer one. Actually, Nuke was the 3rd map. So even back then. So I don't think we're going to see that necessarily gamble coming in from Fnatic. I really don't think they're going to just be gambling. And even though they played good versus Astralis on Nuke, I think they have a lot of other options, and this is a team that can essentially play every map. So I think coming into it, like Jason was saying, Gambit is really good on certain maps, but it's and one of them is Cobblestone, but that's Fnatic's permaban. So
I mean, the funny thing is, like, both of these teams play like 6 maps, right? At least 6, but like they don't have like outside of Overpass and Cobble for Gambit, there's not like any overwhelming favorite map for Fnatic in terms of like their winning percentage. But they do play like all the best teams in the world on some of these maps. So take that with a grain of salt. It's just going to be. I think that nuke thing is going to be a pretty interesting part of this. Gambit hasn't played it since April, so that could be a dangerous map to get them on. But yeah, I think if you're Fnatic, you have to take out one of Overpass or Cobble. You can't let both of those maps go into the process.
These lineups this year have only played Inferno or Train whenever they've met.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's quite nice.
Only those maps. The last time they played different maps was actually E-League, which they had slightly different lineups, of course, where they played Dust 2, Overpass, and Cash.
Ah, Dust 2.
Good old Dust 2.
How we miss it.
We're not going to see that now.
Did I raise a little thing that?
Yeah, you've brought the mood down on the desk, Paul. Camaraderie is at an all-time low.
Damn.
It's all right.
But it's coming back, so it's all good, and it'll be new and brilliant and fun and interesting and.
Back in the room.
Yes.
Yeah. Fnatic is going to. I would like to see them. I think they should be fine with Train if that goes in. I mean, because you have to think that Mirage isn't going to be available to them. So what would they pick after that? They don't have like great win rates and nothing else necessarily sticks out. But against a team like Gambit, they've already beat them on it. That's kind of where you lure them into a trap, I guess. If your Gambit is just saying, yeah, we know what to do now. Finally, if we've played it so many times this year, surely by now you can come up with a solution to what Fnatic does.
Yeah, and under these lineups, by the way, I love the stairs. Fnatic haven't lost to Gambit this year
at all.
No.
Actually,
with these lineups.
Speaking of it, I would love for Gambit to actually pick Cash.
Would you?
Yeah.
Why?
Just a gamble, like you're saying. They've only played Train Inferno before, and it feels like Fnatic has a pretty good idea on what Gambit likes to do on those maps, even if. And it's maps as well that really puts the strength of Fnatic's players, especially a map like Train. You have JW, like I said, just pushing randomly everywhere with Mag 7. So you have Olofmeister. You can essentially have the dual op setup if you want. Train is a good map for that. T-connector push. I just feel like it doesn't necessarily fit Gambit 2 or the matchup, I feel like. Whereas for Cash, Gambit played, I think, VP on it earlier to the tournament, and also did Fnatic, and Fnatic was not necessarily looking really great, that good on Cash.
Okay, just checking through their maps, Jason. It's quite interesting, isn't it, with Fnatic, because they've played Overpass, Mirage twice, Nuke, and Cash. plenty of options.
Yeah,
and so to Gambit look at that and think, well, we've studied all of them. We understand how they play on all these maps. And then actually suddenly they get thrown a completely different map.
That's why I'm thinking this. That's why I put so much emphasis on the nuke thing. I just want to know if like Fnatic has that prepared just in general, or if it was just for Astralis, because I think that'd be a very cool way to kind of be able to play chicken with different teams in the veto process. Obviously, that's not going to work against an SK or an Astralis if they get there. But against Gambit, you might be able to do it. They haven't, like I said, they haven't played it since April, and it's not exactly a great map for them. So you could throw that in there, but. I think the big thing for Fnatic is because they've got so many maps in their pool that are like all right around the same, like just average win rate, and maps that they're not great on but they can compete on. I think you have to take away just the best maps. I think that's their goal. You're going to get at least one with this veto process, right? You have to be able to take out Overpass or Cobble, and I think Fnatic is just going to be much more confident, obviously, on Overpass. They barely even play Cobble these days.
There was a question I had on social media a couple of days ago, which we didn't manage to get to, which was, why is Inferno so popular at Majors? It is the most played map in history. It's also been the most played map here. Why is that? Explain why.
It's just a very balanced map. I feel like it's always been, it's one of those maps where it's like, especially with this system, it doesn't necessarily matter if you start CT or T side, and that's one thing that you go back to, especially in best of one games, where it's like, well, the veto process works, and you end up picking, and you end up playing whatever side that your opponents pick, right? Whereas for Inferno, it doesn't really matter. You can start T, you can start CT. It's a very well-balanced map. That's why you also, in the early stages of CSGO, you also saw a lot of Dust 2. Mainly for that reason, because do you really want to gamble and do a best of one on train, for example, start T side, don't get a lot of rounds, or even nuke? It's a very whereas those are more suitable for best of 3 games.
Yeah, and also I think it even could be a bit simpler than that in just the sense that it's just a fun map to play. Players like playing on it, and
players like fun.
Yeah, players enjoy having fun.
Amazing. Who would have thought?
Also, if you like, a lot of these players that we have in the professional scene. I mean, we're certainly getting some newer and some younger ones, but a lot of like the older guys, a lot of the guys who have been around for a while, like Inferno has always been a classic map in Counter-Strike. Like you always remember watching like some big tournaments on Inferno, like huge matches on Inferno. So not only is it fun to play, but there is like that feeling that if you play Counter-Strike and you've been around for years, you had to have gotten good at playing on Inferno. So I mean, it's a map that pretty much every player is going to have a pretty decent amount of knowledge on and a pretty comfortable feeling on.
Most played map here at the PGL Major, rather than all time, is actually Train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little crazy to me. I wouldn't have expected that one, but we've been seeing it come back. I think a lot of teams are starting to like that as well. It's another one of those maps where I remember when Cobble was like a very popular. I think it was around like MLG Columbus that Cobble was played so much in the group stages, just because it was. It's a map where we talk about all the time when Cobble comes up is you can't do a whole lot of aggression on the CT side. It is a map that limits that. So if you're going into a group stage and you just want to be safe, Train's another similar map. You can do CT aggression, but for the most part, Ts can just sit back. And if all goes wrong, if they're getting destroyed, if they're down 8-0, if everything's going to hell, you can just sit back for 30 seconds. You can be safe. You can just watch for pushes and then execute something and just pray it works. So there's a little bit of safety in that sense in the group stages.
Yeah, I do remember that. I think the Twitch chat went crazy because they were calling it Counter-Strike Cobble Offensive.
Yeah. Well, everyone was loving the Dragon Lords, right?
Absolutely. They like the drops, that's for sure. I've just sparked Twitch chat, sorry, mods. They go mad right now, I can see it. Also, Mirage and Inferno second most. You'd kind of expect that, wouldn't you, with the map pool that we have. But do you think it will switch around now we're into the best of 3s? Because playing so much of the Train and Inferno, teams will then know how the other teams are playing, so then maybe they want to move away from those.
No, I mean, definitely. And on top of that, you only get one ban in the beginning, right? So we will definitely see a lot more variety, I'd say, in the playoffs compared to what we saw in groups, and especially now as well, where we don't have... I feel like that's why we always had the randomizer first, because then you got a lot more...
You miss the randomizer.
You like the randomizer.
I do like the randomizer.
He's a heathen. He likes the randomizer.
I liked it,
Listen, I think we should just get the coin flips back.
Yeah, maybe we can just...
we can start that up again.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. No, but I think we're just going to see a much larger spread here of maps. Whereas teams just tend to have one permaban, and that's obviously one that we're not going to see, but everything else I think
also,
is just up for grabs.
This is where, now that we're in the playoffs of the major, this is where you bring out all the tricks that you may have worked on that you haven't shown quite yet in the group stage. You might have been holding some things back. Maybe not for Fnatic, considering they were in that kind of do-or-die moment in the last match. It was either qualify or go out, so might as well bring it out then just to make sure. But someone like Gambit, certainly, if they've worked on anything, and also this is where, if you've worked on like a hidden map, like a nuke, for instance, that they busted against Astralis, but just as an example, if there's a map that you don't normally play in your pool and you've worked on it specifically for this situation, it's these matches right here. It's the playoff matches, it's the bracket matches that you bust one of those out and you try and confuse or catch your opponents off guard. So I'm expecting some craziness from a couple of the teams in these quarterfinals.
Okay, I want to ask you, as a man who's played in 3 majors, been in the finals of those majors as well, what is it like as a player? Try and explain to the people watching at home who perhaps haven't been to a major and experienced it themselves. What is it like going out on a big stage in front of people like this, trying to block that out, trying to focus on all the things that you've practiced the day before, trying to go through all the things the in-game leader's been telling you, and focusing on what maps you're going to be playing, and trying to actually hit the shots as well? What's it like? What's the pressure like?
No, I mean, definitely pressure, right? That's why I've actually always wanted the players to have like the heart rate monitors that you see during clutches, right? Because it's not necessarily during the clutch you're going to be nervous. It's right after, right? It's the tension that builds up. It's the adrenaline that builds up. And playing in front of thousands of people, here it's going to be, I think, 15,000. It's just a great feeling overall, right? And
did you get nervous though before you? Did you have like that moment before you went into the booth, or even just before the match, or as soon as the first round starts? When did it happen for you?
You didn't necessarily get nervous per se, even during games. It would obviously be if you're not necessarily playing well, or if it's a match point for the other team, and you try and then you get a little bit nervous, right? But I think as for everyone else, this is what they do, right? This is what they do on a daily basis.
Sure.
And they
but is it like that at a major? Does it not have a slightly different feel to it?
Listen, when you make 3 finals in a row,
it's just
majors
boring.
just get boring, do you not, Robin?
They do. They do.
It's just can we just skip all the games? Just put me in the finals. So, you know.
Did anyone on your team get nervous? Was there anyone in particular? Because you all seem quite chilled all the time.
I think the interesting thing is I know a lot of players get nervous during pistol rounds, like the very first pistol round, and then once the game goes live, they kind of forget about it.
Yeah, because you can zone in then, can't you? You kind of like, your vision narrows to the screen and you kind of forget that you're even in a booth and there's even people there.
Right. And the other crazy thing is winning a clutch. Like if you win a one-on-one and your adrenaline gets pumping, that usually like initiates some nerves for like 20 seconds, and you have to calm those down. As the clutch winning is always that got me all the time.
Yeah. Did you have moments like literally where your hands were shaking, so your mouse movement was slightly different, or was it not that excessive?
No, I don't think it ever gets that
There
excessive.
have been some players like that.
Oh, I never had to worry about the shaking hands thing. No. Steady
as she goes.
Steady. Yep.
Steady as she goes. Yeah.
Robin, were you shaky hand, sweaty palms?
Never.
Any of these things?
I mean, like I said, after clutches, when the adrenaline is pumping. I mean, heck, I could use a timer right after those. You know,
did that happen?
I'm not that young anymore. You know, I need a breather.
Did that happen often, or?
No, I mean it definitely did, especially during big matches, right? You do win in a really important clutch.
I just meant whether you clutched much. That was all.
I do. Second.
Saving the world one defuse at a time.
I'm trying to burn him. I just can't burn him. Like, how do you burn a man who's been in three major finals?
9:44. That's fine. You know, that's all good.
It was coming next.
In front of this Polish crowd as well.
Exactly. I've experienced. Like, that's what I said. I experienced
having flashbacks.
Have you gone through the video with him? Has he dissected it for you?
What video?
The 9:44 video?
Oh, no, I haven't gone through
Get him to do that for you in the break. It's a terrific experience.
It is.
Robin basically breaks down where he was 44 times unlucky. We have the vetoes incoming, and Gambit are first. They've banned out Mirage, which we kind of expected, and Fnatic have gotten rid of Cash.
Yeah, and that's why I said Gambit should have picked Cash.
Yeah.
Fnatic, they're so smart. We are going to see a cobblestone pick here, though, for Gambit, I believe.
It'll be Cobblestone or Overpass. I imagine it'd be Cobblestone just because Fnatic doesn't play it. So I think that's actually the big risk, right? Because Cash isn't exactly a great Gambit map at the moment.
Okay, so Gambit go with Train.
This is all over the place.
Yeah, this is crazy,
because
Fnatic are going to be fine with that.
No, but I mean, Train is a map that Gambit's actually been very good on. I think they're coming into the major. They were 4-1 in their past 2 events, and I think that actually goes to 5-1 considering they beat Virtus Pro on it. So they're going to be feeling very confident.
It's going to be a straight-out rematch here from DreamHack Summer. We could even potentially then see Nuke as the third.
Yep. These are the only 2 maps these 2 teams have played this year. But they played each other. It's the only 2 maps.
So they're just very happy with these.
Yeah,
it's
very
comfortable matchup. No one taking any risks. Gentlemen's agreement to pick all the same maps. That is very curious. Why Gambit wouldn't go towards Cobble or Overpass considering they're so good on them?
Yeah. Is this just comfort for each team?
Could be. Yeah, it very well could be. I mean, Fnatic out Cobble finally coming through here. That's good from them. They haven't played that map, so I mean, I'm surprised they even floated out this far. Obviously.
Yeah, same, and here as well.
I'd go for Overpass if I'm Gambit. I know Fnatic's better on it, but I mean, you have to trust in your own Overpass at a certain point, right?
Ooh, yeah, they've picked Overpass. Okay.
that's a sick third map as well, if it gets to that. I mean, you know, Fnatic showing some good things on it, but obviously, I mean, that's just kind of the brawl map, and that just means there's no huge favorite. And I guess they just looked at that. They look at Nuke and they just say, we don't even want to mess with it. That's more of a comfort pit as Gambit just saying, we're going to make sure that we're good on whichever map is the decider if we get to 3.
And Fnatic hasn't played Crane so far this event either, so you don't necessarily know where we have him on that map.
And historically, this is a map, while we talked about Olaf and how impactful he used to be for the team, this is a map that they usually relied on him very, very much. Now, it's gone away. I think it's actually more JW now and his kind of aggression towards Ivy that is like the trademark of this Train team. This is the map where he gets like the auto shotgun and gets close up in Ivy and just wrecks people. So we'll be kind of interested to see how that's going to play out.
Yeah, and... sure where the plans are going right now, but presumably they'll be back fairly shortly. We know the maps now. I guess gives you a chance to be able to tell us and tell the world where you think this quarterfinal is going to go.
I feel like
Gambit should. Do you want a coin?
No, I mean, I feel like Gambit should have gambled here a little bit. I feel like it's a little bit safe picks, especially knowing for their sake that they haven't really beaten Fnatic on these maps. So I think it's Fnatic are more than happy with how this veto went. It's a third one overpass. Yeah, it could be a little bit dangerous if it goes to all 3 maps. But Train Inferno initially, I think it's Gambit's going to have a really tough time.
Yeah, I agree. I think there should have been like even as I mentioned, I don't know why there's not like a cobble pick right in that first pass. Like why right when Fnatic bans Cash, take cobble. It's your second best map, and I mean actually it's right up there with overpass. It's basically tied to be your first best map, and Fnatic doesn't play it. They you know they're 0-1 on it. So take that one, just get a free win out of it. It feels like that could have been a huge opportunity for Gambit to go up 1-0, but they play it safe, fair play. The issue is they haven't beat them at all. I mean, they've lost to Fnatic twice on Inferno, once on Train already. So, going to be dangerous. But I think also, if you're Gambit, you're looking at this like we didn't have a Dren playing at the level he's at this tournament. We didn't have this kind of boot camp that we've gone through has definitely raised the bar for these guys, raised their level of play. So they're just trusting in that.
Okay, we're going to find out some coach information now. So Scoots is on the main stage.
Thank you very much, Red Eye. I am Sir Scoots. I am joined by Jumpy, the coach of Fnatic. How you doing today?
I'm doing good.
All right, so we'll get to the vetoes and how you feel about that. I want to get a little historical stuff going first off. Obviously, there's big talk about this is a rematch from E-League, but in a way it really isn't. Sure, Gambit the exact same roster, but this is the old Fnatic roster back, right? 2 guys have left. The Godsend boys have come back after their brief vacation. So that, in your mind, probably resets it entirely, yeah?
Yeah. But we faced them at DreamHack Summer in Jönköping, and we beat them in the best of 3 there. So maybe this is like a rematch, but not a major rematch.
And now let's talk about, they had a 3-0 group, breezed right through, couple days off to chill, relax, practice. You guys, as I talked to Olaf Meister, never make it easy on yourselves. You went 3-2, you ended up getting out. What did you do yesterday? How are you prepping in versus them having more days off?
I think we prepped like for every match. Like we talked about the veto, and it kind of got the way that we expected. So we feel good. We feel good and confident.
We talk a lot about motivation. Obviously, Fnatic's motivated to be back on top again, kind of the old crew back together, back champions back to back for some of them. All sorts of great stuff there. Zeus has added a new fire to Gambit. He's got this revenge motivation thing going against Na'Vi. He wants to do really well. And then you've got little old Adrian on that side. So how does your motivation and excitement going to battle theirs?
I think, like just to play like the playoffs in a major is motivated by itself, and it's a great team we're facing, and we want to take them down.
And let's talk about the maps. So they picked Train, you picked Inferno, you end up on Overpass. Kind of good maps for both of you. How are you feeling about how the way that went?
We feel good. We expected them to pick Cobble or Train, so it felt good. And we've been working a lot on our both Cobblestone and Train, and now it ended up in Train, and we hope our practice gives the result we wanted.
One last question for you. Let's say you're a fairly new fan to Counter-Strike, don't know either team too well, you're watching from home. Who are your players to watch from either team?
Oh, I think it's hard to say. In our team, I think everyone can show up and be the star of the game. And I think in Gambit, like Adrian has been playing amazing this tournament, so it's a player to watch.
All right, thank you very much. Good luck. That's going to do it for us, Red Eye. Back to you guys at the desk.
Revenge all over the menu for this one, whether it be DreamHack or previous majors. It is Fnatic versus Gambit. We're going to get our final thoughts from our pair of analysts right now. Robin, it's interesting what he said, Jumpy, there, because he said they expected Cobble. So that means they must have a plan for it then.
No, definitely. I mean, that hence the
So they've
the
mind
cash
gamed
ban.
them, haven't they? It's exactly what Jason was saying.
I'm glad he's confused, because I am as well.
Because they've mind gamed themselves, Gambit,
I don't understand it. Why do teams do this to themselves? Why do they want to make it so difficult, Robin?
I don't know, but that's why Fnatic was so smart, right? Because like they said, they expected Cobblestone, or they expected Train, and they were preparing for both of them. Hence the cash ban, right? And that's a map that I said in the beginning. It's like, if it's open, Gambit should pick cash, because Fnatic really hasn't been looking great on it. But instead, I feel like, yes, they did.
They've gone away from a massive strength, essentially, for what feels like no reason.
This is a map that essentially made Gambit to who they are today, right? A map like Cobblestone, especially knowing that Fnatic doesn't necessarily play too much, I just feel like they're just making it harder for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, they're 12-2 on it this year. They've only lost to SK, and then, well, oddly enough, they lost to CLG at Star Series, which again doesn't make a lot of sense. But that's where we are. But that, like, why don't you pick that map? But either way, let's get beyond that. I've had enough. Train being the first map. I'm done with it.
I want to go back to the aberration there. North American Counter-Strike winning on a map they shouldn't win.
That's what triggered him.
I mean, because he hasn't said anything bad about North American Counter-Strike in at least an hour and 20 minutes.
It's really not that surprising when you remember that Kusta's on that team.
There it is.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. You got nothing for that one, Robin.
Incoming flame.
I don't.
Oh yeah, I'm done. Yeah, my Twitter's gonna blow up.
Yeah, completely blow up. All right, let's bring in our commentary team for the first quarter-final of the day and say good morning, gents. How you doing?
Really well, thank you. Loving what they've done with the place here in Krakow. Looks really nice.
They've made it a bit smart for us, haven't they?
Yeah, it's looking good. How are you feeling about this, Dan?
This is just really exciting. The whole setup is just perfect. It's just absolutely perfect here to just get some amazing games. Obviously, the crowd in Poland is pretty legendary, so I'm pretty excited to see how that goes over the course of the day.
Absolutely. So, we're disappointed because we couldn't see you spinning around in the lights in your shorts, Dan.
I know, right? I'm trying to start a thing. I don't know why. It's not really catching on, is it?
No, I think you look great in shorts, Dan.
Stick to the commentary, Dan. It's all good. Okay. Take us into game number 1.
Thank you very much, Paul. It's a big arena. It's almost full already in the first game of the live stage of this major. Quite looking forward to this matchup, Gambit versus Fnatic. I think stylistically this is really interesting. What are your thoughts, Dan?
Yeah, I think it's really difficult to prepare for either team, and that's, I think, why it's going to be really interesting to me. I mean, Fnatic are just absolutely sort of ridiculous in how they want to move around the map. They do very unconventional and unorthodox things only they can do, because they essentially say, you know, where one team might say, okay, guys, let's gather up over here, and, you know, we've taken this bits of map control and we'll attack together here. Fnatic will be like, oh, let's just push everywhere at once and take, you know, 5 different aim battles, and that's just the style that they have, and it's just very exciting. And you never know what to expect when you see Fnatic playing, and it seems like they've made this work once again, because that was the style that just gave them so much dominance, you know, so long ago.
Yeah, I think the key for Gambit is to work as a unit, whereas Fnatic are notorious for making individual plays, maybe sometimes all at the same time, to take a round or a map over the line. And obviously JW is going to be playing with confidence. They allow him free reign to make plays that don't make sense on paper. They're not logical, but they can win you a tournament. So it's going to be really interesting in that respect. Booths are quite nice as well. They're completely exposed to the public here. All directions, nothing but glass between them and people. So I am looking forward to this one.
Yeah, this setup is absolutely sexy, James. I'm loving it so far. And the other thing that's going to be really interesting is the fact that we have so many big game players, like big stage players, because there's so many, I mean, as it was covered on the desk, you know, you've got just all of the Fnatic players, right? They're so experienced, and you know, there's so much
in here.
That is something that we were waiting to see, isn't it? It's just, I think I have no words for my expectations there. So that's something where I just want to experience the sheer hype. I mean, it's legendary, isn't it? So, and they've worked so hard for it too. It's just the story is just perfect. We have so many cool stories here. I mean, obviously the bracket is full of potential heartbreak as well in the way that the draw worked, and also just seeing some of the newer teams too that will get to play on such a big stage. I mean, like Big, for example, that's an absolutely crazy result. But they've done so with incredibly impressive Counter-Strike. They absolutely deserve it. So I'm loving the fact that we're getting some of the old stories and the new stories at the same time here. It's great.
Yeah, looking at the second half of the bracket, I really feel like almost anybody can make it to the semi-final or even final on that half of the bracket. Yeah. So I think in that respect, it's going to be quite unexpected. Lots of Dozier fans in the crowd today. Nice to see that Adren brought a grill with him as well, as in an actual grill, not a girl. But the intro for him was cool. But let's not forget Dan's shorts. I think they are becoming something of legend. Your sharks are 2 shots, as they say to Dan in the Bahamas. Well then, the countdown has begun. We're 60 seconds away from the pistol round on train. So make sure you're ready.
So how do you feel with the whole map situation here, James? Do you think that one team is favoured, or is it just could it just go either way?
The 2 shots, as they say to Dan in the Bahamas. Again, I mean, it's hard to say because for me, Gambit are more of a team unit, but Fnatic, depending on the opponent and I don't know, depending on if they're hitting their shots, their individual plays can take them over the line. So map-wise, I think Gambit are comfortable, but Fnatic, you never really know just how strong they're going to hit, and how Gambit will be able to deal with that. If Fnatic, if JW can get up to some shenanigans around Ivy on train, for example, and start pushing and doing some crazy stuff as we've seen him do in the past, then if it throws people off, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they got nervous on a stage like this. But enough about that. It is game time. The pistol is about to begin. Fnatic will be starting on the CT side. They will be defending on the first map of this best of 3. And Gambit will be the aggressors. Here we go.
Just listen to that crowd. It is time. Fnatic, of course, going with the typical kit and smoke on. Crims, everybody else.
It's a false start.
Oh no.
It's a false start.
Oh, it's all a tease. It's all a tease.
Just when you're ready to get mad hype as hell.
Okay, I'm
CTs
sure we'll get it back.
are still in CT, so
yeah.
Everybody calm down. Okay, so Olafmeister is suffering an audio issue which is causing a delay here, so they will hopefully resolve that soon. We've had a few people have had issues with their in-ears in this tournament so far, so always good to bring spares. That deagle shot was really loud. Had to turn down our in-ears here. So hopefully his in-ears will be sorted out and they'll be good to go.
I can't take it, James. I can't take the tease, the weights. It's too much. We stood up in our chairs and ready to get into this, and denied. Yeah, this is really interesting to me because I feel like for Fnatic, they've waited for so long to get to this moment. I think the last, I would say, perhaps even year since when Fnatic started to fall off, and then they switched players around, and we had all the Swedish shuffles. I think there was like a really big humbling period for a lot of these players, and then they started to reappreciate what they had and all the success that they had that seemed to come so easily for them. And it seems like forever that we've seen them now in this position, sort of comfortable. They've re-innovated their style, and they're a more mature team, a more experienced team, and very ready for this. And as you said with Gambit, it's hard to know what to expect from them on the big stage. And again, it's you have a bunch of very experienced players there, so I've no doubt they have something special saved for this. And of course, both teams had time to prepare for one another as well, so we might see some shenanigans.
Yeah, just saw Mo on your screens there for a brief time, and you get a lot of attention on Adren these days, especially when it's time for LAN. But Mo is an explosive AWPer, so we can't forget about him. And the AWPs, I'm sure, will be coming into play during this map and this series. So Olafmeister having some frustration there with his in-ears. Yeah,
the AWPing is really interesting. Obviously, that's one of the things that makes Fnatic quite dangerous, because you have pretty much everyone who can basically pick up an AWP at any moment and do something, make a play with it. And obviously this map is very interesting from that perspective on the T side. Originally, way back when Olofmeister made it, very famous. The aggressive play style very famous when he was considered the best, basically the best player in the game at that time. He was one of the reasons was he could just run a T side, get a 30 bomb straight away by just playing very aggressively, basically winning games by himself. And we've seen glimpses of that form come back with Olofmeister, and this would really be, of course, the perfect time to see that once again. So I feel like this is really a perfect map for us to start off with these two teams.
Is he good to go? Looks like he might be. Looking forward to seeing Dennis on these pistol rounds. Infamously consistent on the pistols is Dennis.
Yep.
Again, he'll be looking for a place in that finals and beyond. Very dangerous player. Another one of my favorites. How can he not be?
I loved watching him through all the matches that Fnatic played, just because there's so many spots where he was just laughing, just super happy, laughing in all these scenarios. It's like everything's like a joke, to Dennis, and that's quite funny. If you see how scary he is on the server, and whenever he would win a clutch, you just see him just like smiling to his teammates and having a good old time, and just keeping the spirits up. And that's very important in a team game like this, having those players that just bring just so much positivity to the team. And Dennis is certainly one of those.
Yeah, looking towards the, there's more to the Gambit story now. We've seen a lot of talk about the existing Na'Vi team, and lots of rumors swelling out to that one as well. Does Zeus perhaps go back to Gambit? What if they are eliminated at this stage? What if they make the final? What if they go further than that? Lots of things are possible here. I think this is one of the most open playoff brackets that I've seen at a major. Partly thanks to the fact that SK and Astralis are playing each other in the very first round. But there's a lot of opportunity for many teams. So like if he is in the mix as a potential player to go the way of Na'Vi, then where is the line where if they go beyond this point, then it's less likely? I don't know. Lots at stake here.
Yeah, imagine how good it must feel for Zeus, having, not playing in that Na'Vi lineup. That was obviously a very hard time in his career, having spent so much time with them. Then to basically say, you know what, I still have the hunger, I still have the will to win. I'm going to find a ragtag team, and just bring them up to be able to win a major. And look how far he's come. That is quite a storyline. Zeus is definitely one hell of a guy, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it's hard not to like the Gambit team and what they've done in the past year. Still waiting for Olof to rejoin the server at the moment. See Gambit wondering what's going on the other side. And maybe this gives the players some more time to get used to how exposed they are. You've seen the jib shots going through the ceiling into the booths. Really nice shots with all the player screens whirring in the background. And that is the very big trophy that they are fighting for.
I hope the team that wins it can lift it, James. Sometimes that's what I worry about. Okay, can you get that trophy in the air?
Yeah, our trophy was pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the heavier ones. So some extra moments for Gambit to talk amongst them. What's he doing? Good spirits in the Gambit side. And it's good that they're able to do that. This kind of thing might irritate some teams. Those of you with the hottest girlfriends in esports, I think it's reasonable to say.
So it's like there's still some issues, but is Olof back on the server? Do we have him back on the server? No.
I'll play. I'll do it.
Hey, I think, maybe you'll get a chance, James. Maybe you'll get a chance.
I don't know any Swedish, but, just, it's fine. It's fine. I'll do it. I'm in there. I've got my gear. I've always got my gear. Always, always. So his game does not appear to be open. And perhaps it's a case of channeling the audio to the right output if there are multiples.
You should get in there, James.
Well, we'll be getting in there tomorrow. I don't think they've
true.
announced the teams for the show match. Yeah.
Yeah, it just dawned on me earlier that.
But
yeah,
the important things are that Yanko and I are on opposite teams, and I've promised him that he's going to get knifed. You know, these are the key takeaways from the show match coming tomorrow. We are, before this match gets underway, while these issues are looked at, we are going to have a look at a major forecast video. Take a look at this.
Well, I would say the favorites are like SK, Astralis and FaZe. Obviously a team like G2 is not even a legend, it's also really dangerous. I think those teams are like the teams you would least want to play.
SK, FaZe and Astralis, who are showing really good CS from months and months, so they have the consistency, so they will be good at this major for sure.
SK, they're on form. FaZe, they're looking really good. Astralis will get better even in 2 or 3 weeks, even better than now, so Virtus Pro gonna be again great, I'm sure. So it will be really hard. Also teams like Gambit and every other team which are already qualified, Fnatic, they're all looking better now.
FaZe, we have Astralis, we have SK, and at majors, Virtus Pro is always playing like out of their mind.
FaZe, Astralis and SK who are like the top 3 at the moment, and then like the underdogs, or how to say, black horses for them is just Navi, Gambit and so on, and they are like really good teams as well compared to many others who are in the major.
There's a lot of teams that is up and coming right now, and there's no teams that you can really underestimate. For example, I think teams like Fnatic and SK, even though they're still kind of at the top right now, they're not really #1 or #2. All these teams are still competing, and they're really hungry to get that #1 spot.
This is gonna be the most like the highest competition ever on a major for sure.
Definitely it's gonna be one of the hardest ones.
what you're facing. Get back the dreams that you were chasing. Open your eyes and you will see. It's time, we're gonna set you free. Get up, let's get started. Come on, we're gonna throw it down. Get up, it's what you gotta do.
Welcome back, ladies and gents. It's time to kick off the first game of the quarterfinals here at the PGL Major, live from Krakow. And it's Fnatic on the CT side of train here, Gambit on the T side, and already we're going to see Gambit making a march straight towards the inner.
Dennis here's some sound cues moving back, raising the alarm, and Flush is rotating around a connector position, but Gambit, they've slowed down. Olofmeister not waiting around, it's going for a push through Ivy to find the information. JW is close to main, but can they get towards B fast enough, because now Nautisam's looking to move in?
Yeah, it's a nice setup actually, I think, between the Fnatic players here. The fast rotation from Crimson's coming in as well. Looks like they know what's going to happen, but you got to connect those USP shots long range. So far, nothing actually going the way of Fnatic. That's a really big problem for them, because now the Gambit start to get very close with those very dangerous clocks. On those close range, they start to swarm as the bomb gets planted. This is wonderfully handled so far by Gambit. There's just Crimson, JW left now. They're having a real struggle to get in. Gambit with a fantastic pistol so far. No, surely not. Denied. Dozy, I can't believe he's going for it already, James. The knife kill.
That's a reasonable read. JW alive for now, but not for long. Mo will finish things off in the pistol round. I like the value play from Dozier, looking for the knife, and again, it's good. It's a good psychological advantage for the first round of a best-of-3 series. The pistol goes to Gambit. Let's see what the choice of Fnatic is. Fnatic, a team where anyone can pick up a sniper rifle. JW made some money with 2 kills there. He hasn't bought anything. $2,000 in the bank, so they're definitely going to want to start with sniper. Rest of the team, though, on the force buys. That is disgusting behavior.
And this is something that Gambit are going to be very strong at pulling off, is these rounds when you're facing the pistols. As you said, Gambit, they play as a unit. They've got great leadership, and they know what to expect when they're up against a team like Fnatic in this position. So let's see how this goes. Looks like they are committing themselves into that B-bomb site, and they have a few Molotovs to assist them, as well as the regular utility you would come to expect, such as smokes and flashes. And here they go, Hobbit, first man in. That's his job with the MAC-10, looking to find out the information. I love the angle he's taken to try to clear the site. Really, really lovely approach here from Gambit, and it's going to work out quite well. Fnatic, a small response from Flusher, but the bomb is down.
Dozier will hear the rotation from Olofmeister, but his crosshair is all over the shot. Now Olofmeister's picked up an SMG, swiftly taken away though by Adren. Flusher's managed to get himself a MAC-10. It's a 2-on-3. There's more damage to be done, but Gambit, they've got 2 Molotovs. They can simply hold the high ground. It's very unlikely that Fnatic are going to be able to do anything about these Molotovs, so Gambit don't need to engage on the low ground. That's it's useful fish for something more from the round. I'll not quite get it. 2-0 Gambits.
Very well handled round indeed, and I'm sure that's something we should come to expect from Gambit Esports as things do progress here. And Fnatic only able to steal away a MAC-10 there. Obviously they were able to do some damage, but I think Gambit will be more than happy surviving with 3 players there and only conceding a MAC-10. So again, nothing really to worry about there. They've all got helmets and so on. The MAC-10 is going to be hard to use, but it is actually in the hands of Olofmeister. So I'm curious to see how he's going to try to get value out of it in this round. He doesn't have any Kevlar to play with. It's just Flusher who saved Kevlar from the previous round. So Fnatic, they don't have too much expectation in this one. Maybe getting a couple kills would be a good result, but beyond that, it will be very difficult against the likes of Gambit in this position.
It's interesting that JW's gone for a full double eco. He's got $4,000, and if he's playing towards the IB position, it might be because he needs utility to slow things down with smoke grenades and the like, whereas often AWPers will be content moving forward without that. He's got $600 more than you'd normally have in a round such as this. Now the push comes in from Gambit, looking for another good eco. Hobbit is very exposed, and surely he's going to go down. He's in the red at 20 HP, trying to get out of there, and indeed he will be able to back off. And Mo can take up the angle. Bomb planted, Olofmeister moving through the A site. Remainder of Fnatic in B.
Again, another round with great movement from Gambit, great use of utility, very disciplined play. Starting things off in such a composed manner definitely bodes well for them. But, of course, ooh, that's a bit cheeky, isn't it? Olofmeister with a long-range headshot there. That's some additional damage done. looks like Dozy will be able to handle Olofmeister, take him out the picture. Flusher, though, looking to save that Kevlar of his and the CZ potentially. Maybe a sneaky frag, but no, denied by Zeus ultimately as we move in to Fnatic's first buy round.
I think he was trying to pick up the weapon, which the bomb would have sent his way, but he was denied by Zeus. Good presence of mind, good awareness by Zeus. In those situations, if a weapon has been dropped, then you need to keep an eye on it because it will be seeked out by the opponents. So indeed, JW with AWP, full armor, and he's got his all-important smoke grenade. So we'll see where he heads to. Zeus quickly into the A site, and Mo can hold some angles for him. It's common for a player to be up the ladder towards the IB position on the CT side. Can sometimes see Device playing from there, maybe he will later on. But for now, it's Fnatic on the CT side. 4 M4s, the sniper onto JW, playing in the connector position for the time being, and you can see he's been boosted up as well.
Yeah, Fnatic taking this very slowly for sure, just really trying to see how Gambit wants to play this. What is the pace of their T side? There's a lot of information to be gathered in that sense here for Fnatic, so they don't want to get too aggressive too soon. Rather, it's better to test Gambit's offense. And should Gambit decide to go for a set-piece execution onto the A site, which is quite likely usually, and again, that would be a test for Gambit. Okay, how well is this going to work for us against one of Fnatic's setups? And the same for Fnatic. They get to test out, okay, how well are we holding these pushes? Because it's one of the most common strategies you'll see. And you can see that Fnatic aren't giving up any picks or looking for any picks, really. So Fnatic are running the clock down and forcing Gambit essentially to go for this set piece at some point. But there's only 30 seconds left and they still haven't got the bomb, and they're not really in position to attack just yet. It's just Zeus who's in a forward position. The rest of the team needs to get to the bomb site quickly, James. There's only 20 seconds left.
Yeah, they've played the slow game and it really hasn't worked out. They were looking maybe for an opening from Fnatic, but there's an opening. JW kicking things off towards the A site, and that's the bomb drop. 14 seconds. What do you even do, Gambit? You go to save in a situation. It's those to your left, picking up an M4. Can he get any damage done? Any more damage? Doesn't seem so. Apparently Gambit had a hard read that they would get an entry. Maybe because of Zeus's position they waited, but it ended up being a wait that was too long. Nobody came.
I do really like that idea from Gambit too, because perhaps you could be in this situation where maybe a team like Fnatic, you could maybe see them getting a bit antsy if there's a lot of time, that's being killed on the clock. Maybe they want to see some action. Maybe they will overextend somewhere, but credit to Fnatic holding their nerve completely, very composed, very disciplined. They had a game plan, an idea of how to approach that round. They stuck to it all the way to the end, and to see Crims already getting a trio of frags, that's a very good sign for Fnatic, the rock of the team perhaps.
Look at the difference now. JW, last round he was over towards Connector. A nasty surprise from his boosted position, and now he finds himself towards B. So looks like JW is going to be all over the place, and Fnatic are going to try and keep him as unexpected as possible. And I think normally you would expect him around the IB position, but it's Olofmeister for now. Gambit with 2 players going for the running jump. Maybe in case there's a second door, something they'll need to identify as this round proceeds. 1 minute 10 for Gambit.
Interesting that there's 3 players around Ali here for the Fnatic side at the moment. Well, there was 3. Now there's still, having 2 players, there is still quite a lot of attention put onto that position. Looks like they might be thinking of making a play here to try to retake this position and gain some information in the process. Olofmeister making life very annoying. Again, if Gambit were to try to go for this triple-pronged attack onto the A site, to play aggressively like Olofmeister just did, putting a forward smoke down there, really slows Gambit down and delays their timing because they want to come in with everybody at once. And Olofmeister sat here holding them off, but we've got Hobbit there making a kill towards Inner. That should go a long way here, and it's going to cue another play coming in as Flush is able to defend there. Very important for Fnatic, but again, 25 seconds left, and the bomb needs to make its way to that A site.
Bomb around E-Box, and Fnatic have read that it's going to be an A play. Crims is around with JW as well. 2 kills for JW, bomb is on the floor. Caught with his knife out, but the time is with Fnatic. 3 versus 1 now, as Zeus wonders what could have been in this round. Trying to escape, he won't be allowed to. Another kill, 3 kills for JW, and that's a good start for Fnatic. JW is rotating everywhere. He's played in 5 rounds, he's been in Connector, he's been over towards B, and rotated towards the Ivy position, and then back on the bomb train. JW is all over the place, and that's going to be hard for Gambit to deal with.
And the one thing that could be worrying for Gambit now is whether Fnatic are able to essentially get in their heads and read what kind of pace they're going to run. Because we just saw a bunch of slow rounds that really did not work out for Gambit. So Fnatic have to be expecting fast play now because Gambit have to change something. So I wouldn't be too surprised if Fnatic do alter their setup to account for that. But of course here they understand that Gambit can't have too much but pistols, but maybe pistols is all that's required. Adren with a great shot there. That's Flusher dead, but how much more can they really get out of this?
The numbers game towards the B bomb site. Flashbangs will force Dennis from his position, and the bomb's going to go down. Adren with another kill. He's the only person, though, with a really strong gun at the moment. There is a piece 50 in play, but Adren with the deagle has to do more. Hobbit, Dozier taken down. No rifles for Gambit to collect. All their kills have been long range, and Fnatic will return in kind with the long range kills, leaving Mo alone, looking for a flank, but Olofmeister has a read on it. The Glock was never going to get done much done in that situation. Fnatic prevail. Some flashy kills, but the round goes the way of the Swedes.
And the crazy thing is the amount of damage they did. Again, you know, the 2 kills to the deagle, that's actually, if you consider the investment, like you said, there was only one good weapon actually as far as the pistols were concerned, and they got 2 kills on the bomb plant. That's actually an insanely good result for Gambit. And now the score is all tied up, 3 to Gambit, 3 to Fnatic. And we get the buy in once again. We've got Mo on the AWP. Now, this is the interesting situation. Will we see Gambit change the pace? Will they go for a very fast play? That is what I'll be looking for here in this round. We've got double off for Fnatic, mixing things up there. Mo unable to find a quick pick there from the team main area.
Interestingly, Gambit were looking out for a potential second AWP in a previous round when they lost one of their own, and now the nasty surprise is here. There are flashbangs for this position. JW, I think he gets a kill there 9 times out of 10, but not on this occasion. Dennis is going to be a nasty surprise. Saw Dozier drawing his gun very late. Free kill for the Swedes.
And you can see Gambit are trying to go fast into B, but then that forward frag from Dennis really creates a horrible situation because now they have to adapt. They can't just force the play. Now that Fnatic have the information, they've got that first pick, they've got the rotation in. So now it's back to the drawing board in this round for Gambit, and not only are they back to the drawing board, they're doing so with 1 player less. So it's going to be very tough for them to get in here, and they don't have a huge amount of grenades either, so this will be quite the struggle for Gambit. And Fnatic with those double orbs, it's very scary.
Olofmeister has gone for his second push through Ivy of the round. This time it will yield a kill onto Mo. Gambit are looking very disorganized at the moment. They don't seem to know what they want to do. So they've had one issue, and now they're in a really nasty situation where they've got no map control, and they're trying to re-establish it. And now the bomb is on its own with 30 seconds remaining. 2 players towards the B bomb site. They don't have the personnel to fake in this situation. So JW and Dennis will duel with them on the B bomb site. Dennis taken down, but JW finally getting the close range kills towards B.
A great little play. They're getting out of harm's way with the flashbang. JW still causing huge problems there on the bomb train. Crims will pick up the kill onto Adren Zeus now. There's nothing really much he can do with 10 seconds left and an AWP and no friends to play off of. So again, just as you say, you know, Gambit, they kept trying to make plays here, and Fnatic with their aggressions have been so well timed, able to just, you know, be in the heads of Gambit, just get the right player in the right position, get that bit of information, get that pick off. Has to completely change the round for Gambit. Fnatic reading it really well, understand where to take the next aggression.
It seems like a false start for Gambit.
Yes, absolutely. It's the initial approach is not panning out so well at all.
Ignoring the pistol, it's 4-0 to Fnatic.
Oh, surely
at the
not.
moment in the business part. What do you see, Dan? What's going on?
Do we have 3 orbs? We have 3 orbs on Fnatic, James. The triple orb special.
It is Train. Train must be the most viable map in the map pool at the moment to have 3 orbs on. That is quite the change. So Gambit, they don't have the money. This is the buy between the buys for Gambit, and they're heading towards maximum loss bonus. Zeus dying after time has got nothing in the bank, but the point is, Gambit have enough to cause problems to Fnatic. They've got smoke grenades as well. If they get into close quarters, then those 2 M4s are going to have a lot of work to do. These kind of rounds can really fall apart for a team with more than 2 sniper rifles on their side, but most of the time does work out. We'll see how it works on this occasion. It seems it will be the execute into the A site. We saw Cloud9 have some nice counters to this play we'll see if Fnatic have picked that up, or if they've got other ideas.
And they should be expecting this as well. And you can see JW's got a great angle here. You can look over the smoke. That flashbang was perfect there. Able to cover the approach from Adren, but perhaps not good enough. JW still on top of things. But the bomb will make its way quickly towards B. A very cheeky fake coming in here from the Gambit side, and it's worked. It's given them a plant, but Dennis needs to be on his mark as well with the AWP. JW indeed will be falling victim to the close range of that Tech 9 from Hobbit as he starts to push the issue around the train. Another frag all of a sudden. Oh my goodness, Hobbit with 3. And there's problems now here for Fnatic, a 2 versus 2, as suddenly we get Crims answering back, but Dozier, he's had so much time to position here. Will Fnatic read this?
Olofmeister has 1 HP. Dozier, there's opportunity for him. They could go for a smoke defuse attempt. There's tons of utility here for Fnatic, and it's Olofmeister with 1 HP to try and defuse the bomb. It's not going to work out. Is there time for Crims? It's going to be a close one, Dan. It's going to be a close one, but I think they just might do it.
Oh my God,
you heard
James.
the beat there. You heard the beat. And, you know, before the round started, we spoke about how you can have problems with three AWPs, but I don't think that was necessarily the issue. Fnatic had a full 5-man rotation into A. 2 Gambit players made it into B with no one there to defend it whatsoever. There was no one there.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's so funny because Fnatic, who have so far been predicting Gambit, I think, quite well. I think, as you say, James, they were absolutely convinced it was going to be just an A commitment. So such a smart timing for a fake there from Gambit. Perhaps that can bounce them back into this one, as you pointed out, is Fnatic with all the momentum until that round. So it could be quite the turning point here. We have Gambit just taking some early map control, but being fairly passive, perhaps afraid that Fnatic might decide now to throw in a spanner to the works and get some aggression going on early. But Fnatic still playing quite passively overall, and their aggressions on the CT side have been very measured.
That round has annihilated the money of the CT side. Gambit, opportunity knocks for them, but the first task for the Gambit side is to do something before there are 30 seconds remaining, and that hasn't been happening in these rounds. There's been a lot of waiting around, and then, yes, you will wait for the CT utility to be used. But look at this, there's a minute on the clock. There are 3 smokes here for the CT side. JW doesn't get an engagement on that occasion, but Crims definitely will do. Around the pop, though, 2-man spray down for him, looking for the third. He's seen the bomb, though, and indeed it's going to be another full rotation from Fnatic. Olofmeister for 2k with the AWP. Only Dozier remains. Not enough damage done by Gambit.
Awesome defense there from Fnatic. And one thing that's also really amazing from Gambit is these flashes of theirs. They have obviously drilled the hell out of these offensives, because we saw JW there. He's got an aggressive deep angle. Looks like it's going to catch somebody off guard. That's the whole point of it. But there's a flashbang for that. Gambit very well prepared here. But again, that's the danger of a team like Fnatic. These guys are just individually absolute monsters, and that's what Gambit are going to have to try to deal with. They're going to have to slay the monsters of Fnatic.
It almost feels like Gambit are trying to avoid playing the style of game that Fnatic want to play, but they're just not getting enough done. And it seems that Fnatic know Gambit want to play a slow game, so they're just holding on to the utility that you would normally see disappear when you play a slow round. So that's not necessarily working out for Gambit. Max loss bonus, the AWPs and rifles will be on their way, regardless of the outcome of this round for the T side, but see if they can do some more damage. This time, Fnatic are holding steadfast with 2 players in the B bomb site. Mo makes it into no man's land and gets taken down in isolation. Olofmeister's got problems now. Players to the front of him, players to the back, and now the kills are coming in for Gambit.
They've done a great job here taking over the bomb train, but there's still a few players left here to fight back. Dennis coming in from Connector now with the AK-47, able to win the battle against Dozier. Still 3 remain though, and Zeus does have an AWP, so there's certainly a lot to be up against here for Fnatic as they take their time and they try to coordinate themselves in together as 3, as Adren also waits for the perfect timing, able to support Zeus, who has that AWP. Adren with the peeking there, trying to buy time. Hobbit once again with a Tech 9, and it's just going to be 1 player left here for the Swedish side. It's Flusher. Can he make this happen? Going for the hold. Hobbit says no. And that's the round there from Gambit. I mean, it seems like they don't need rifles, James. Just give them some Tech 9s and a couple of smokes, and they're good to go.
Fnatic finding it hard to deal with the pistols, but you saw Fnatic made adjustments when they over-rotated in a previous round, so They are staying sharp, the Swedes, despite losing that round. Very patient play from Hobbit, concentrating on the headshot in that duel. You could see a lot of people go crazy and maybe grab their mouse too hard, but the focus was there from Gambit. They're back to winning ways. 3 snipers on the map. Crims with the MP9, and that would tell me aggression, and indeed he's making his way inside the pop dog position. Definitely want to be up close with a weapon such as that. Fast fire rate, but it does fire potatoes.
It's like Fnatic have all the players in the right positions here, and of course part of the reason is due to the aggression that Olofmeister is taking towards Ali. He's got that information, and great position there from Dennis. Can fall back. Does that commit Gambit though? Are they going to go in with this after losing a man early on? It looks like they're going to go for it. JW up close, going to whip the first shot there as Dennis is in still a great position. And he's got JW to provide distraction for him, but it's not going to be good enough. Gambit with the entry frags here. Now it's Crusher who's the closest man, as well as Crims coming into the flank here with that MP9. Zeus though holding him at arm's length with a Tech 9, but not for too much longer. But still, 3 players left here for Gambit on the bomb site at the moment to try to defend. And here goes Olaf with that AWP. Sneaky plays over the train. Nice flick shot there from him, but Dozier with a fast response.
Crosshair was in the right place, but not quite hitting the mark. Crims, he's been beasting so far. He's got 14 kills in these 10 rounds. He doesn't have a kit though. The double peek is absolutely perfect from Gambit. Talk about communication. Really nice stuff from them. A second round. What does this do to the cash of Fnatic? Well, it is in the toilet. It is down the pan. $2,000 per person. Do Gambit have a good read of the money? Again, in the scoreboard, the players can see how many CTs they killed in each round, and that will help them determine what round to expect from Fnatic. Almost nothing bought by the Swedes just yet. Crims with a P250, and that is literally it as they leave CT spawn.
And it's so cool as well to see, you know, Crims having good performances and so on in Fnatic again. I think everybody on the team is sort of finding themselves, and they've refound their identities. And I mean, he was always known for being one of the most efficient players and one of the best anchors in the business. And we've already seen his ability when faced with multiple opponents at once. Very capable. His pistol slowly diminishing at the moment for Fnatic. A nice little flick shot there from Mo. Also, a bit of penetration damage will be finished off by Adrenans. This affair will soon come to a close, I think, as Gambit diligently, methodically make their way to round number 6. Although it's a bit annoying there for Mo. But there it is, 6-6.
Yeah, minimal damage done, AWP saved. They will be absolutely happy with that. Finally, it seems that we will get a close train after a bumpy start for Gambit. The score is tied. No snipers on the Fnatic, and I do wonder if we'll start to see a more aggressive Fnatic now in this shape. Maybe they'll feel like they the devil on their shoulder is pushing them forward, pushing them through Ivy again. I do wonder what role JW will have in a round like this. Now he's over to his Ivy position, but Olofmeister going straight through Ivy immediately. They seem to have a good read at Gambit, just abandon this position often. I mean, Fnatic, they've had some good reads on Gambit, like Fnatic in that previous buy round they lost. They had the numbers in the B-bomb site, weren't successful, but they did make the right play.
And now it seems to be time for Gambit to make the move in towards B at the moment. But I do wonder if they'll have anything sneaky up their sleeves, whether they'll try to double back or just commit into it. Looks like there's going to be a committed play here with the smoke. Dennis with a quick play with that flashbang going straight forwards. Almost gets 2 there, but denied by Mo ultimately now as we get 3 players left for Gambit. They've got to plant the bomb here. Zeus claiming ground, forward ground there. 2 frags from him. That's massive work, but Olaf's still alive and stalking through the smoke. It's Adren though. So smart is Adren. He knows what's up. That's Olofmeister done. And Crims has got nothing really left to do but to turn tail and run. He's got such low hit points at the moment, 23.
It's a 1 versus 2. He's got to go for this. The bomb's only just gone down as well. Surely someone has dropped one, but it's not going to work out for him. Gambit take the lead. I think Crims just wanted to reset the situation. He was spotted, he was exposed on the high ground. He had bullets, grenades, shrapnel flying his way. But no, that is the 4th round in a row for Gambit, and it's a tactical timeout from Fnatic. Their momentum has suddenly gone. The swing is broken, and they'll try to fix it in these 30 seconds. Great bursting by Zeus. Lovely second kill from him as well. Adren staying close to the smoke again. When a T side chooses to push through B, one really good thing to watch is the T player who goes near connector, what he chooses to do. Some will try and make a play into connector, some will try and make it beyond towards the CT side of the train yard, and some will just stay around that smoke or on the slope if there isn't a smoke there. Adren chose to stay around the smoke, so he would have an advantage if a CT went through it, got a free headshot, saw the last player as well, pretty much won the round for his team from that point, unless Crims has a nice 1v2 clutch. But it wasn't to be. Fnatic on the pistols. It's their turn to head towards maximum loss bonus. Adren with the AWP rather than Mo. That's curious. Maybe spawn-based. Indeed it is. He's going to swap around now, and everything goes back to normal.
But we know the pistols are very dangerous in the hands of the Swedes. Dozier looking for this, though. Really nice stuff there. Very cognizant as Dozier now looks for perhaps a trade fragger to come into play. A nice smoke in this position, and trying to open up Ali. Wow, with the CZ spraying through the smoke. Flusher, of course, getting the kill. Lovely stuff. And now Zeus doesn't have anyone to play off of here, so he's got two angles to be worried about, because they could always just push the smoke. So you have to be very careful about that. Yeah,
it's awkward for Zeus. He can hold this angle and be relatively safe, but there's an AK on the floor around the corner. He doesn't want them to collect it, but now he's got no choice. And you can see he just dives around the corner as fast as he can, does his best. Three frags in 1 second. Crims making it a fourth. JW got a quick two, but who knows what the hell just happened. It did seem a bit scrappy the way their approach to Ivy. I mean, maybe they thought they were just USPs or something, but it did seem a bit scrappy from Gambit.
Yeah, I mean, Gambit just tried to go through Pop Dog and teammate at the same time, and just look at this. Oh man, just coming in from above there, dropping down from the top of the train. That is some good timing, if ever I've seen it, from JW. And that is certainly a bit disappointing for Gambit, but they have 7 rounds on the board still, so really competitive game of train at the moment between these two teams, and we see once again the double AWPs come into fashion here for Fnatic as JW and Olofmeister hold on to those. And Olofmeister, he's been playing, making so many plays by himself at Ali, and this round is no different. Look at all the info he's got.
It's almost like it's CT territory. It's familiar to him, like an old friend. Smokes, grenades all over. This is Bedlam. Ivy was left exposed for the most part, but Flush is the one to get the 2K rather than Olofmeister, who's playing in the IB position. Many Fnatic players around the train. It seems perhaps Gambit have lost their momentum in the last round of the first half.
I think Gambit are trying to play off a distraction from Hobbit there, dropping down Pop Dog, but that smoke slows them down a bit too much. It makes life difficult as Fnatic aren't going to be caught off guard. They're ready now. It was a nice play from Gambit, but indeed that smoke at Pop Dog ruins all the plans of Gambit there, and Fnatic looking very, very good here for the 8th round. Close out this half. Nice frag there from Hobbit though at range, trying to go for the taps. Another one from Hobbit. He's not down and out just yet. He's got 16 points of health though, so it's going to be hard for him to win some of these engagements, and JW's in a devious position here. Close range, just the single bullet required. 8 rounds for Fnatic, 7 for Gambit. But if you look at how this started, I thought maybe Fnatic would start to run away with things, but Gambit, man, they're showing a lot of temerity at the moment.
Yeah, this it's good. It's a close. I mean, Gambit could have gone in with a lead had not been for that half buy round from Fnatic. But here we are, all to play for. Fnatic off to the T side, and you can see that JW has been one of the heavy hitters in the first half, along with Crims. Crims up there with 16, leading the server at the moment. There's a good average of kills on Gambit, but they don't want to be average in this half versus Fnatic now, who will be able to set the pace. And they'll be playing with confidence, Fnatic. The amount of times they were able to trespass into what is normally T territory in the first half will only boost their confidence moving into the second pistol round. Crims and Flusher with grenades. Zeus will be carrying the smoke and defuse kit. Everybody else on Kevlar.
Yeah, I love all these grenades from Fnatic. You wouldn't often see it like in an online match or something, but here they obviously have quite the plan, using those grenades to give them ample coverage to at least secure a bomb plant, but some kills will be lovely as well. Nice tag there coming in. Mo desperately weak, and the bomb will go down. Fnatic with a very strong opener, but it's a pistol round, and it can all change in the blink of an eye as we see still 5 players standing for Gambit.
Mo and Dozier trying to double pick, but Mo gets taken down. But Dozier will avenge the kills, and now it's down to JW. Smoke and defuse comes in. He is not making it there in time, and I think he realizes it. Wax on, wax off. Can save his Kevlar, try and get some extra money. He'll do exactly that. Picks up another pistol as well, but the pistol does go to Gambit. That's a huge round for the CT side.
Yeah, that means 2 pistol rounds won by Gambit, so definitely a struggle in that sense for Fnatic. Now, how will Gambit approach their CT side? We saw Fnatic were really, really passive, allowing Gambit on their T side to sort of just play the field and then react. Gambit might have a similar approach in mind. Of course, they have the full save here for Fnatic. They want the AK-47s in the following round. So this should be quite an easy one here for Gambit. Zeus starting things off well. Quick 2K for him, making some money with that SMG. Hobbit will continue the trend as well, and it's almost all over, and we can get into the real business here when the AKs come into play.
Mr. Stock Knife Flusher. It's been spotted, and surely it's a matter of time. Cheeky grenade, but the god Dozier finished things off with the UMP. Nice money bonus for him. Most of the Gambit side went for rifles, including the scouts, onto Mo, and those rifles continue. So it seems Mo will keep the scout in his hands. Should the worst happen for Gambit, he can buy with his team in the next round. 5 AKs from Fnatic, reasonable amount of grenades. So let's see just how aggressive they can get.
Yeah, you'd normally expect it with those AKs. It's always a comfortable round when you get them into those open spaces of the A yard. But we've got some forward positions here to try to maximize the effectiveness of these SMGs from Zeus. He's making a lot of noise. They're jumping around, running around as well. Perhaps trying to bait a peek and then tosses the nade up. A nice idea from Zeus. However, it's not going to really yield all that much for him just yet. And Fnatic starting to wander down towards the B side of the map with Olofmeister just pressuring towards Ali, and that's really important because it makes it very hard for Gambit to read what this round's going to be. But here it is, the entry from Fnatic into the B site. Adren will be able to get the first kill, but the quick trades make life quite difficult for Gambit.
Dozier repositioning, but he can't get anything done in that situation. So man advantages with the CT. So Molotov will try to force Crims out into the open, but the smoke is there. He can hold his position. Flusher getting taken down. T still on the high ground. There's a flank coming in from Olofmeister, and he better move quick because Dennis is alone on the site. No Molotov or any other shenanigans, and there are smokes for Gambit. 2 of the 3 players with kits, they could go for a hero defuse. They're looking for the flank, and Olofmeister's finally there. Dennis now on the high ground. He's got a good angle, but he's expecting a peek. There's Hobbit taken down, going for a spray transfer, but Zeus was off of it. Gets back on it. 2 players surviving for Gambit. They prevail, making it to double figures.
And the really sick thing here as well is we can't forget that Gambit actually tried to continue with their SMGs and the scout and so on, and they still won the round. They picked up 2 AKs, so they have made a huge amount of money. They're really making the most of that, winning that initial pistol round. So this really puts a lot of pressure on Fnatic. Fnatic have to start controlling Gambit's economy, because if it starts to get out of control, Fnatic are going to have a hard time just being up against what will seem like endless buy rounds. And this was the way that Gambit turned things around. The Tech 9s and the grenades. Let's see if it works as well for Fnatic.
JW is only 22 years old. The man has his own shot, and he's 22 years old. What the hell's going on? Fnatic moving through the IV position. Hobbit needs to back off. He can have a crossfire with his teammates, but he's still staying close. Gets shot straight in the head, and so does Zeus. The same problems that Fnatic had, Gambit are having those as well. They are getting absolutely wiped out. Olofmeister with a 2K so far, picked up an AK. What has happened to Gambit in this round?
And Dozier just has to get damage in here. He can't allow Fnatic to take away too many weapons. And there's an the timing. Dozier, though, coming back into the angle at the right time. However, it's just going to be 1 frag for him. And we can see Olofmeister picks up the AWP. We've got AKs collected as well, M4. So Fnatic, that's exactly what they had to do. But Gambit, they're going all in, James. All the chips are going across the line. We got double ops from Mo and Adren.
Zeus had $10,000 at the start of that round, so he is dropping some cash for his team. What a great spray from Olofmeister. That is sexy stuff. Keeps it close. You see Mo, Hobbit, he's been feeling the emotions, man. Zeus has forced him to engage in a bro fists. That's a nice shot from Fnatic. Can you imagine if that was a kill? what it would do to the psyche of Gambit. They need to keep their heads in the game, this CT side. Again, Zeus as the in-game leader and also the captain, trying to keep his team focused, but you can see they are hurting a bit.
Everything slows down now as Fnatic
coming into
start to take more position.
Coming into
they
this
get
game
all
with
of
a bit
back
more
towards
momentum.
Ali. Again, that's so key, just always keeping pressure towards Ali, because again, it's so hard for Gambit to know, is it going to be that triple-pronged attack into way? They put pressure around, you know, T-Main and Pop Dog as well at points. Is it going to be the plan to beat? It's just become so hard, and it's all because of Olofmeister and how he can stay alive, keep pressure up, keep himself in good timings on rotations. But it looks like Fnatic indeed will make their way in towards the A site, and Olof, he's got some help arriving behind him soon, but he's not too afraid to take these duels ahead of his teammates. He looks for the peek. Not quite good enough there. Zeus with a nice wide peek there to avoid Olofmeister. Great re-peek there from Zeus. Brave stuff, but it pays off.
Those who are looking to flank from the B bomb site, can he get a pop in time? The bomb's heading towards the main position. Dennis tagged, making his way into the site, but there are no kills just yet for this T side. There's Dennis getting taken down. Things go from bad to worse. Grenades flying in, but JW's been given a present. What can he do with it? There are 20 seconds for them to make a gauntlet run to that bomb site, and they're not getting anywhere yet. Hobbit taken down finally, but all the CTs are here. They've got a crossfire on the bomb site. The bomb can surely not go down. Dozia in the pop dog, lovely close range from JW, but there are 8 seconds for this plant to happen. The pistol for Adren, and that's going to be the round over. 2 versus 1. JW needs to get away. 3 HP. He will be hunted by Dozia with that pistol, doing his best to hide, and he's somehow going to escape. But the round is with Gambit. Some nice parkour from JW towards the end there.
Yeah, he was on the run, man. That's crazy stuff there from him. The Hunger Games business on the survival is JW, but that no-scope, what on earth was that? I guess it's just JW, classic JW things, isn't it? That's what it is.
Standard stuff for a high-pressure AWPer. Thrives in those situations, and we'll see which team will thrive in this one, because it's going to be a rough buy for both sides. All the UMPs coming out. JW and Olofmeister towards Ivy, and let's look at Hobbit's position. He'll get some sound cues from this, but I can't see a flash push coming in. Mo is close to him, but he's got main to focus on, and so does Zeus. CT's still positioning around the map at the moment. Zeus with the FAMAS. If he has to duel towards the main position, that's going to be less than ideal. Fnatic will search for a pick with this boost. Zeus will hear it. Surely he could take a grenade from a teammate now. He's very exposed.
Yeah, here goes the peak. Zeus going to lose out on that one. Dennis opening things up here, and now Gambit, they've got to be worried because Fnatic are ready to come in from Ali as well very shortly. And with that man advantage that they have, Gambit going to have to make some plays, and it's, of course, Adren to try to make the play, but Dennis shuts him down as well. That's 2 for Dennis in this round. Is there salvation is somewhere in these 3 remaining players for Gambit as time starts to get lower, and Fnatic, of course, will begin to make their way back in.
Olof and JW continue to creep towards Ivy. Fnatic careful of main. Don't quite have possession of it just yet. Some warning shots from both teams around the Ivy position, and the clock continues to tick. Hobbit very exposed. Mo, it's his turn to get the no-scope, and JW's down as well. Crimso, he's still got the bomb. Dropped off, leaving Flusher alone in a 1 versus 2. 18 seconds, they don't need to show. Dozia repositioning, his teammate will be the bait. Flusher's high, he's exposed. Jumping onto the low ground, he's got to run to the site, and he'll get taken down from the back by Dozia. That was really worrisome for Gambit. If you look at when Zeus went for the dry peek, he hears jumping. He knows at least one person is in Pop Dog. Mo is on the bomb train. He's got the one flashbang that the 3 of him, I think Adren was there as well. He could flash for Zeus, but with the AWP, he's holding the angle on main. So it seems they chose to sacrifice Zeus rather than him come off the angle and throw the flashbang. Really tight stuff for Fnatic, but they come out on the losing end again.
That was epic stuff from Mo. Oh my god, the guy is performing under pressure right there, and I love that. Even in that super high-octane situation, gets to 3K. The last player, he realizes, I don't have to take the duel here. I'm not supposed to take the duel here. I can play with my teammate. And to be able to do that after making such a quick series of kills really shows Mo's experience and why he has made it with his team onto this stage. Right now he's making the stage look pretty good, James. It's a 12-9 scoreline for Gambit, and that round is going to give them a lot of momentum because the money indeed is pretty poor for Fnatic at the moment.
Yeah, Mo looks pretty level-headed at the moment. Hobbit, though, you can see he's feeling the pressure, but it's not affecting him in the game. He's got 19 kills. He is leading the charge. This time, Fnatic are on the pistols, but they've got no Kevlar. They don't really have that many dangerous guns. Olaf with the Deagle, and he's got full armor with his Deagle. He can take the odd shots. Sometimes it does make the difference, but he'll be looking to do some damage to the CT economy, but he'll be the bait. JW will get the job done for 1 kill at the very least. But in a 4 versus 2 Glocks, we cannot expect much more. Adren going fishing, but he's using missiles as bait in this situation.
13 for Gambit. They're pretty close now for map number 1. It's going to be interesting to see what Fnatic choose to do here to try to break Gambit, because if Gambit pick up this round, Fnatic are back into eco territory. It's going to be really difficult. Of course, they will have $2,900 for their round loss bonus. So if Fnatic do get a bomb down in this round, even if they lose it, they can still try to force together a buy in the following round, which will feature AKs and so on. But that's not ideal. They really need to stop Gambit right now. This is such a key round for Fnatic to win. And so that means their decision as to how they approach it couldn't be more crucial. And looks like there's aggression from Gambit. They've got a quick pick there. Mo, where's he going to be? Looks like it's going to be Inner this time. And that's Crims sent to the bench for this one.
Mo doing the same that JW was trying to in the first half. Gambit have a third player towards B in Adren if needed, but now he's going back and forth to connector. So perhaps the Gambit have a good read on what the remainder of Fnatic will do. The flash is there. Those just being very cheeky, maybe expendable, looking for info with the UMP. Hobbit and Zeus will stay towards A for the time being, but surely the rotation will come in from Zeus. Adren's got to be very careful. He's going straight into the grenade, but he will survive for now. Mo with the pick onto Flusher. Mo delivering even more kills for his side. 3K for Mo so far, and Olaf Meister remains. Not going to expect Zeus in the same position, and Adren will finish off the job. 14-9 Gambit. No plan for Fnatic.
I mean, we said it, that was the round that Fnatic had to win to stop this scary momentum for Gambit, but they seem to be getting stronger every round at the moment and looking very confident. Fnatic having to go, actually looking like they're going for a force buy here anyway, despite not getting the bomb down. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Keep Gambit off of match point, give yourself 2 chances instead of just having 1. Tech9s, AK, Galil, grenades, that's what Fnatic are going to try to win this round with. It doesn't look good. Let's see what they got.
Dozier. What are you doing, Dozier? You're not supposed to be in this position. There are 4 people on the A site, and he's going to get dinked by his teammate. That's going to give his position away to the team. What the hell's going on? That is so unlucky for him. That's crazy. And that might cause a rotation from Fnatic. Talk about a stroke of luck, that!
That is absolutely ridiculous indeed. They've been handed something here, but how far can they take it? Because they still have to get into a bomb site. They haven't really got much map control. They haven't attacked any choke points just yet. They don't have weapons that can really perform at range, except Dennis, who's critically low at this point on health. It's still going to be very difficult here for Fnatic. Hobbit looking to find himself a quick kill here in the main. This would be a really big one to find. And Crims goes down. Now it's just about the 3 players left from Fnatic making their way towards B. It's all on their shoulders.
It's retake territory. Oh, Adren, please. A clutch king with 100 ping, but only good for the 1 kill this time. Flusher is close to the red. JW is with him. Flusher on the low ground, trying to move forward. He'll have Zeus to contend with soon. No grenades left for this Fnatic side. It's all about dueling. Flusher and Hobbit coming through these trains. Flusher though, running distraction now, but Mo will pick him off, and it's JW. He is the last man standing. The Molotov will force him forward. Surely he might get 1 kill here. Hobbit's only got 4 HP. He's defusing without the kit. Mo with the AWP. It should be the other way around. But Hobbit's got 4 HP. Which one diffuses? At least the kit's there. But Mo, he's got to deliver here. He's got his pistol out. It is so awkward for him. Is he defusing it? I don't think so. Oh my god, it's too late now. What a way to lose a round. Shooting your teammate in the head through a wall, giving his position away. Everything falls apart. Surely that was Gambit. That has got to be the worst luck.
That is crazy. You wonder if there's maybe like a communication. I mean, it must be a communication problem there. Dozi's making the push, and they're shooting his position. So definitely seems like perhaps, maybe Dozi just decided it's like, I'm going to do this play, and maybe didn't communicate it. It's hard to say what it might be, but that, as you say, it could be the one chance that could get Fnatic back into the game. Now they actually have guns, they've got grenades, they're looking for perhaps a fast round straight into the A-bomb site. Olofmeister in typical Olofmeister fashion going straight in, but it's Adren with the first kill to the round as Dennis will fall, and Olofmeister pushes the position, but he gets stopped by Hobbit. Still more work to be done though by Fnatic, as Blusher and JW answer back a 3v3, and the bomb still needs to go down though.
Get that boost on CTs. 2 AWPs, only so much you can do with so many smokes out on the map. Everything starting to slow down. Fnatic taking it slow, trying to identify where the CTs might be, trying to get their communication game on with some more seconds to take pause. Angles so close. Mo being teased by a Flush, but Flush not engaging the angle. The bomb needs to be collected. JW is going for the flank towards the IV position, and that's exactly where Mo is standing. If he stops scoping, Crims must know he's there. Crims is just around the corner. They've got the time to make this play. Fnatic being very, very careful. If they win this round, they break the money of their opponent. If they lose this round, it is game points Fnatic.
No.
He sees the barrel, and there goes Mo. It's Adren with the AWP behind the smoke. He might walk through it for free if he's brave enough. JW playing close to the smoke as well, and it might be a no-scope from him. Fnatic on the comeback. If Gambit go on to lose this map, then surely they just go back to that headshot thing. I mean, oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy.
So a chance rears its head here for Fnatic. Gambit humbled perhaps now that they have no money again, and all that momentum sort of goes away. I have to say I've been really impressed with Mo's performance so far. He looks really dangerous at the moment, an assassin with that AWP. And now this should be a pretty calm and easy round for Fnatic. On paper there's only really a P250 and 4 stock USPs for Fnatic to worry about, so you can see Olofmeister, he realizes that he's got the MAC-10 out. It's a tool fit for purpose in this round. JW able to get another frag as well, so just systematic cleanup of these saving players. Fnatic bullying Gambit in this round, but now Gambit can buy again. It's not the best money in the world, but it is enough.
Yeah, they can buy now, and if they lose, they can buy at 14-14. Gambit with 2 chances to stop Fnatic getting to game point. Fnatic 2 rounds behind. It's a Gambit tactical timeout at present. Mo's on the AWP again. There may be a lack of grenades in this round. There'll definitely be a lack of helmets. So, does this, with a pause like this, I do wonder if Fnatic will play it slow, expecting a push. I mean, we've seen some insane pushes from Dozier when he's been ill-equipped, and he's ill-equipped once again with a UMP. So they may look for that. They may put 2 or 3 people towards the B bomb site so they can trade if necessary. What will the play of Gambit be? Mo's been everywhere with his AWP. It seems he's headed towards the IV position. Can post up towards main from there as well. So let's see what Gambit have in store for Fnatic.
Fnatic making their way towards Ali at the moment, so will Mo go for the peaks? Of course, there's all kinds of shenanigans. Oh, that is so fast from Mo! And that means so much as well. Hobbits, he's got some action too. Teammate's going to handle that one nicely as Dennis gets shut down, and 20 seconds have passed in the round, and 2 members for Fnatic trying to go for picks. It has blown up in their faces, and now they simply have to combine their forces and go together somewhere. That's pretty much all they can do at this point. They can't risk losing another member to a 1 versus 1. They need to get a situation where the bomb can be planted and where they can trade frags.
Mo with no Kevlar. I wonder if he'll end up swapping places with Adren. Adren's holding the high ground, but he doesn't have a scope, so that's going to make life more difficult for him. He has a look just in case they're creeping down the stairs, and you see him dropping a smoke. That may be a good timing, and Fnatic are going to force the issue moving through. Nobody checking Dozier's position just yet, but surely they will, surely they will. No kill for Dozier with his UMP. The bomb's going to go down, the CT's on the retake. That's a good start from Adren. Olofmeister and Crims remain. Hobbit's coming in from the flank, but he doesn't have the angle. They're making it work for Fnatic, but they're both tagged. 4 of these 5 remaining players are all very close to dying. And there goes Crims, leaving Olofmeister up on the high ground on his own. He won't get it done. It's game point Gambit in the first map of this best of 3.
What a relief for Gambit, not finding themselves in that position where, you know, there's that one mistake and maybe it gets into their heads, maybe it, you know, compounds the problem and things get worse. But again, composed, experienced players, good leadership. And they are playing their hearts out right now. Just one more round and the double AWPs certainly pose problems for Fnatic. And Fnatic, well, you know, they're going to fight fire with fire. They've got 2 AWPs of their own, JW and Dennis picking them up. So looks like Fnatic are going to double down on the picking approach. Let's see how that goes for them. Because so far, again, Mo and Dren have been fantastic.
4 AWPs. Oh! Dennis taking gambles there, but we'll come back to that later because there is a 4-man engagement towards the IV position, and the advantages will go straight back in favor of Fnatic. 1 minute 35 on the clock, and there are 3 CTs here. They are on the verge of being reset. That would be a complete disaster for them.
What on earth is happening there, the AWP battles? You can see why both teams are buying all those AWPs, and Olofmeister now looking to try and make things worse. But it's Zeus who wins such an important 1 versus 1, and this is what we talk about when we talk about Fnatic. They really love to take these 1v1s, and it can really send things spiraling out of control for your defense. But Gambit standing up strong so far against the oppressive side that is Fnatic, and the bomb can be planted. And Dozier's position is very good at the moment with a silenced M4. Perhaps he can get the drop on somebody. It might just be Flusher. He's creeping below him. Does Dozier look around? This is such an important moment. Flusher now spraying onto Dozier's teammates. Dozier turns around, gets the kill in the trade, but that opens him up to Crims. The worst has happened now. Leaves it all to a Dren in a 1 versus 2.
They've got the high ground, the T's. They've got the high ground, and Adren may not fancy this one. How does he not get traded? He'll hear the bullets whizzing past his ears. And Fnatic have stayed alive. 13 rounds coming their way, and the money's not spectacular for Gambit, so they are in a very awkward spot. But going back to that first frag in the rounds, the CTs always get to connector to look towards main before the T's get to main to look towards connector. It is not an advantageous peak for the T's. It is a gamble that didn't pay off for Dennis on that occasion. Maybe expecting Mo to be around the IV position of the AWP, but Adren was at connector with a sniper of his own, and that's a sniper that remains in this round. 13-15, Gambit, they can't really buy. It would be a massive gamble for the side. The money next round would be great either, so Adren, I mean, because it's an AWP, you could go give it to Mo with no Kevlar, but he will stay with it and do what he can.
Adren's going into a poor position with that AWP. That's very scary stuff, isn't it? The push comes in from Fnatic, and oh wow, Zeus! He prevents the bomb from going down. Adren has been lost though. Nice transfer there from Olofmeister. And there was some shenanigans at play, but Fnatic have defused them in more ways than one, and we'll see themselves brought onto the 14th round. And are they actually going to do this? Are we going to get the first map of the day here in the playoffs be overtime?
Would you have it any other way?
No. I would not, James. Let's bring it on.
Second last timeout for Gambit. And they're going to have to drastically change their approach in this round. Adren has gone from an AWP to a Mag-7. Quite opposite ranges on those weapons, so one would expect him to go towards the ladder position. Or maybe even a play towards main with a flashbang, but there are almost no grenades on this CT side. It's a very desperate time for Gambit. Adren's got a good spawn to make it to ladder room as well, to the pop dog. But Fnatic, they are fully equipped. They are ready for this overtime. They will feel like they deserve this overtime. JW close to the 30 bomb, 26 kills at the moment, leading the server.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see if how Gambit could possibly make this work. With this amalgam of guns. Adren. Oh my god, it's Mo. It was Mo. Calm down, everyone. It was Mo with the headshot there, but nice little assist there from Adren with that Mag-7 of his. And Dennis just so brazen. Yep, I'm just going to walk out here. Don't mind me, but Gambit are going to shut that down. And it looks like Fnatic, they might just try to end this here on the B-bomb side. They're all rallying up and readying the charge.
They've had a lot of success there Has not been a spectacular day for Dozier on the B bomb site, but now he's finally got an M4. He can start things off well. Got support from the high ground as well, but that support has gone. Doing some damage, but no frags. Mo coming in with a fast 2K. Is this it? JW on his own, 1 versus 3 to keep his team in this first map of this best of 3. The bomb is down on the high ground. He's exposed. He is forced into the open. There are Molotovs to be thrown here by the CT side as well, but they will allow him to collect. Hobbit trying to find a funky angle, can't quite do it. Nobody's close enough to hit the scope. JW will escape with the bomb for now. He has 40 seconds. He's got to guess. Is he better off towards B or better off towards A? There are no eyes on Popdog at the moment, but Adren is making his way there.
Gambit playing this so smart. They understand the timing as well. They understand exactly how JW might move around the map. As we can see, Adren making his way towards teammates. JW going for the double back, and there you go. Gambit make it work. 16-14, one key error, and it could all have been over, but they composed themselves, and they are indeed making that stage look very good here today.
Crisis averted for Gambit. One of the most unusual things I have seen, the headshotting your teammate when he's on the flank through a wall, when he's above 2 Ts, could have been a turning point, could have been psychologically crushing, but no, they turn it around. 16-14, Gambit take the first map of the series. On the pick'ems, Fnatic were 55% favored for this. I personally favor Gambit. I think, are you with Fnatic for this one?
Yeah, I was edging Fnatic, but after seeing this first map and seeing how Mo is playing, because for me, if Mo is actually playing that well with the AWP and he can go toe-to-toe with all of the AWP skill on the other team, that evens it out for me. And now, yeah, we've got a really awesome fight on our hands. I cannot wait to get into Inferno.
It's getting hot in here, man. Jackets got to come off. It's mad hot in here. It's tense on the first map of the first day here in the Tauron Arena. Tauron? Probably Tauron.
I almost said Sauron Arena the other day, and which would be quite interesting. But yes, the Tauron Arena here in Krakow. It's a beautiful arena. The stage is amazing. I couldn't really think of a better place for this event.
And it's time for the thoughts on the first map. Over to Paul.
Yes, good first map. No jacket required here, that's for sure. Back with our panel members, Fiflown and Moses, to break down map number 1. Good performance by Gambit, and as the boys in the commentary booth said, could all have pivoted on a very odd team kill.
Yeah, that's an awkward situation that put them in, didn't it? I mean, this match to me was just kind of crazy in the sense that it was so op heavy. I mean, both of those teams had a lot of success with the AWP, and it felt like part of that was because there was a lot of space given up in some of these bomb sites. There was a lot of map that they could work with on some of these executes. I think like one of the most aggressive stances we saw from Fnatic is when like Crims is pushed up towards E-Box, and he did great in that position on the defense, but the ops just became so critical because there were just so many duels going on at like long range as well.
Yep, going to take a look through the highlights of this first map. Was their map pick, Robin, obviously, and they've got through it, and I guess they've bounced back from the 12-16 defeat that they had on this very map at DreamHack, so they did learn something, they did adjust, and they've come out on top.
And definitely, I mean, that was the worry coming into this, right, when they left Cobblestone open in the map pool, and we were kind of upset that Gambit actually didn't go with that pick, but hey, they won their map. This is a good start for them, and then leading into it, but as Jason was saying, with a lot of op heavy on both sides, and it was actually looking pretty bad in the beginning for Gambit. I mean, they won the pistol, great round by Mo, and then after that, the extremely slow rounds. We were down to like 20 seconds, didn't really pay off. The first 5-6 rounds over to Fnatic after Gambit won the pistol, but then after that, Gambit started abusing the inner bomb side a little bit, started getting the bomb down and crawled their way back in the half.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, it's got to be crushing if you're JW, because I thought he had a phenomenal game with the AWPs specifically. He was excellent. And I think actually the T-sides for Fnatic is still they're kind of struggling on them. We saw it a little bit in their game on Nuke against Astralis. The only thing that bailed them out there was some individual openings. Here on Train again, I thought their T-side opened very, very slow. And I mean, really for a long time, the only round they won on that T-side was that Force Buy that came out. It was just like a rush Ivy on an Eco, and that got them close up to the Opper. So they took away some of that space and some of that map that they were giving them outside, and eventually swarmed that over. But they just didn't have enough openings going for them. I mean, Gambit started winning all those opening battles towards the end of this game, and just too many rounds Fnatic is playing with the man disadvantage. I think even one of the gun rounds they opened up, it was Dennis with the 2 kills in ladder room, and it was a 5-on-3, and they lost that somehow. They were too passive after getting those 2 opening kills, and allowed all 3 members of Gambit to just gamble towards the outer bomb site and rotate over, and then they were all in position. And it's a little bit lucky, a little bit fortunate, obviously, but if you give them the time to make the right read and it comes in, like, there's always going to be that chance.
That's always the main worry, right? When you always you base your game off of defaults, essentially. You get the entries, but then when it comes down to it, there was a lot of even deficit for them as well. 4-on-5s a lot of the times, even for Fnatic. Now, granted, they did end up winning a few of those and then resetting Gambit's economy, but that's definitely going to be that's been Fnatic's issue, I think, this whole year, because they still have the same tendency of just playing defaults and not necessarily going into the heavy executes. And with a team like Gambit, especially when they were not really giving them a lot of picks either, then you're going to be seeing a lot of rounds where that doesn't necessarily go their way.
Let's take a look at the scoreboard, and it shows a very definitive story as far as Gambit are concerned, because if there's one thing they've done well, Jason, over the last 3 games in the group stages, is they've all stepped up. There's never a bad game from anyone. They're all within a few frags of each other. And again, same thing here. 5 kill spread between them. Top 24, bottom 19. Yeah,
it's easy to make that happen, to say no one's having a bad game when you have a Dren with like 35 kills. That just makes everyone's job so easy from there. But this one, obviously, when it's this measured, that's phenomenal. That's definitely no weak links. Everyone has their impact round as well, and it just shows also good teamwork. It's not just like someone mowing down 3 players every single round. It's having a good setup to trade, peeking out when your teammates in a fight. Fnatic side as well, that's pretty even, all things considered. Also, I just think JW had a stellar game. Crims was a linchpin outside, but JW's op is on point, and that'll, like, if that JW shows up on Inferno as well, I know, let's not get ahead of ourselves to the next map, but that's going to be a dangerous weapon. That's kind of the playstyle that we talked about. If he can be aggressive with the AWP the way he was on Train, he's so scary.
Having picked out one, we've picked out Mao as the MVP for this one. You could easily have gone with any of the other 4 as well for their various moments in the game. But he was one of the players that we haven't really spoken an awful lot. Dren's taken all the headlines because he's top rated. Zeus, the great in-game leader. Dozier, the rock that's been there forever. Hobbit stepped up into the top 10. We didn't speak about Mao at all during the pre-game.
No, I think it's because in terms of sheer impact, when he first joined this team, they needed an opper, and he was. I never really seen Mo as a strong opper, essentially, like not in the likes of Fallen and or Device. He's just a plain opera. He doesn't necessarily do a whole lot. But one thing that he does do is very consistent in his opping. You're not going to see all the 4 kills, the very aggressive plays, but you are going to see kind of like not necessarily a turret essentially, but he's going to get you that 1 kill. He's going to get maybe even 2, right? And then it's his job done.
How did you feel that Fnatic coped with that map? Because it was a close game after all. They won't be too worried about the result in the end. They've got another map to try and come back into this, and it's their choice. So,
I thought it was all right. Just again, the T side was a little bit lacking until too late. I thought, and obviously the CT side was also a little bit weird because it felt like they had the one thing Gambit did really good in the first half when Fnatic was CT was they weren't winning a lot of those rounds when Robin was talking about like the very, very slow pace, but they were getting the kills. They were getting the kills, and they got a couple plants in there. So they were building up their own economy through losing and also making sure that Fnatic was being ground down. So when they finally do get that win, then they go on for 5 wins. They get the upper hand that way. But it didn't look like they were going to have a great plan themselves. I thought Fnatic came in all right. It's just the T side sometimes with this team aren't very convincing, and it is just like some of those. It is that like lame excuse where it's just like someone's going to have just an individual round that opens things up. Crims had a couple great entries on their T side, but you can't really rely on those to get you those rounds as the game goes on.
Do you feel like they read Gambit okay though?
I actually thought that Gambit did a much better job of reading Fnatic than the other way around. I think Gambit outplayed Fnatic in that sense.
Robin?
Yeah, I think so. So I think that the game plan, especially for Fnatic, is always going to be the same. It doesn't really matter on the map, right? It's just communication, try and push somewhere, get that entry, and fall back and just play the number advantage. But I feel like for Gambit's sake, in the beginning, like Jace was saying, now there were, the rounds that they ended up or did not end up winning, they were just super low, and then at later stages of that, like I said, just abusing the inner bomb site. So
I think Taz put it the best way when you talk about Fnatic, because he's just the guy that comes in and he says, well, if they're hitting their shots, they're probably going to win, and if they're not, then they're probably going to lose. It's just the way that goes at times with this team, and it's what made them so exciting, so dominant for so long. Because if that works, if that style works, it is hard to stop. It is very difficult to stop, and at the moment, it's just not as impressive as we'd like to see it.
Indeed. Right. why don't we check in with what an experience we have at the majors. Experience is everything, of course, so let's take a trip down the major experience road.
Being at a major is always something just fantastic. I guess we players, like we all play to be at. It's the most prestigious tournament, the one who is the most watched by the person, by the spectators everywhere in the world. You have a lot of crowd going up into the big stadium.
Teams want to experience the fame and all the attention on them. For me personally, I do want to experience that. And I think competing as a team for gaming, you know, it's all about winning the prize pool as well. You know, you want to take home first. That's everyone's priority.
I think it's most about honor and how you feel it, because the major is like for every CS player the dream where you want to be.
It's like a really good feeling to be in the major. Everyone is looking at you and you have a lot of attention. It's obviously very great, and yeah, obviously you will be really happy if you are playing in front of a big crowd. Probably your family is in the crowd and also cheering for you, so it will be obviously really very special moment.
The only thing about the major is just it's so prestigious, you know, like you will have your trophy in the game, stuff like this.
Aside from that, that's where people want to meet their fans, because that's what they're here for. They're here for you. They're here to watch CS, watch you play. So I think a lot of people do want to experience the fame as well.
If you can lose 6-7 tournaments in a year, if you win a major, like it's worth it. The major is definitely the best win to have.
Grab your gear and let's go.
With the Strafe Esports app, follow your favorite teams and players, and you'll never miss a match again. Strafe, everything esports. Download now on iOS and Android.
Oh, crap.
Exclusive Black Equalizer brightens dark scenes without overexposing bright areas. Use the S switch to quickly access the setting and switch between save modes.
I capture the pawn at E5. You lose your queen. Check. think like a 40-year-old and...
Staszek, you could help in the kitchen instead of playing with that gizmo all the time.
She just won't let me play in peace. TP-Link connects with passion.
They have no idea these are close. They're looking for more. That's a third one coming in. Looking for the quad killer. Nearly gets it.
Stewie, yes, there's one headshot and there's another.
And getting two big headshots. Looking for more. Oh my god! And he's going to go on Team JR, the round of the weekend.
Taser.com, a competitive gaming platform. On Taser, you can find the toughest dudes in the galaxy.
I heard it's got all these great features for real gaming.
Yes, it has, Dan. Like a voice communication system. Just post one to your friends. Introducing new Taser security system.
Wow, it's so lightweight. Feels like there's nothing inside.
Fan är det här?
Jaffer FM. Just dance and move your body. Just dance and move your body. Just dance and move your body.
them on train. And we always talk, there's always a certain point that you get to where you've beaten a team a number of times on a map and they do kind of figure you out, especially at this level. They're going to figure things out before you adjust. I think the benefit that Fnatic is going to have is, like I mentioned at the end of the last segment, was JW is looking really, really good with his AWP. He's making the plays that we know. He's hitting the no-scopes. He's getting aggressive. He's being very, very confident, being very risky and ballsy. And those are all the recipe to make him a highly impactful player on both sides of the map here, especially on the T side where the Oppers can struggle. The benefit for Gambit on this map is Adren has been their best player in this tournament so far, and he's also the one who's going to be fighting for banana control for Gambit. So he's going to be a big-time player here. If he can bring his A game, that's a big part of the map that you want to have him control.
It's going to be a lot of fun watching that battle, I have to say. And very quickly, Dennis, he's tweeting in between the maps.
Yeah, I saw that.
Didn't have a very good first game and was very frustrated by it.
No, I mean, sure, but then again as well, coming into this map, I think this map definitely fits Fnatic's playstyle a lot better in just playing defaults, and I think Dennis is going to be a big part of that. I didn't necessarily think he had a bad game at all on train.
We didn't pick it up, did we? We thought it was okay.
No, exactly. And sure, there are some situations that you end up losing on in situations you should probably not have lost that duel, and it happens for every single player, right? But like I said, for this map, like Jason was saying, for JW, I think we're going to see a lot more aggressive play from Fnatic on both of the sides here, on both T side and C side, but a lot of defaults as well, just trying to get a little bit of map control and go for executes after that.
All right, thank you very much, gents. Let's head back to our commentary booth with Dan and James for game number 2.
Thank you, Paul. Yes, we're back, and that means the game is indeed about to start, so the excitement's already starting to build for me, James. I have no idea which way this one is going to go. I wouldn't have it any other way as well. The Gambit looking really fun to watch at the moment, and I think we got the slow start out of the way with on train. I feel like the pace is going to start to amp up.
Yeah, I think this map will be, or has the potential at least, to be close between these two sides. I expect it to be close, and that means unpredictable. I don't really know who's going to take it. Obviously, Gambit are coming into this with an advantage, but is there pressure in that sense? Like, you know, we're a map up. Let's try and close this 2-0. You see, I mean, Hobbit again. He's been performing so far, but you can see on his face he's feeling the pressure. Zeus is trying to keep him in the same frame, in the right frame of mind. With Hobbit sitting next to him as well. Fnatic on the back foot. They can't afford any more slip-ups after that one. So definitely all to play for here on Inferno, and indeed, I expect it to be an explosive game. Dan, go TV picks. Who are we choosing?
I think it has to be, for me, with Gambit, it has to be Adren, because I feel like this is such an amazing map to see this skill set from him, which he's so amazing at, which is the clutches, right? There's so many spots where, you know, in an after plant, you might see Adren, you know, just taking it super slow, but he'll find a way to just, you know, defeat the pressure, defeat his opponents, outsmart them, and sometimes outshoot them as well. So, like, he's, for me, should be really exciting. What about you?
Crim's had a really good performance on the previous map. I think on the CT side, I'm going to pick Crims as one to look for. And I think Crims and Dennis, actually, I'm going to look towards Crims and Dennis on the CT side. So I'm going to do it one map at a time. But of course, Fnatic are starting on the T side, not a CT side. So we'll get some picks in due course. But for now comes a pistol round. Olofmeister making his way towards that position at Banana. Hobbit taken down in isolation. Mo's on the rotation already, though. Can see Zeus taking some frags elsewhere, peppering, firing missiles down mid. But 4 Swedish players head towards the bomb site. There are only 2 CTs here.
Yeah, the rotation's coming in quickly, and Gambit need to be careful to try to make sure they can play off of each other here. You can see Adren, really cheeky stuff there. Mo is already just shooting off with the USB. Gets 1 kill, 1 headshot for him onto Olofmeister, but these T's will make their way across. Dozy with one through the smoke. That's always a nice and very fortuitous pickup. And now the bomb, there's too much pressure to really plant it here for Gambit. And so Gambit really are in a spot where they don't have to move, and you can see they understand that. They can hold their positions. It's down to Fnatic to make the move onto that bomb plant.
And that bomb is planted firmly to the floor by the CTs, dropping JW, leaving Crims alone, and he won't get anything done. That's 3 of 3 pistols won so far by Gambit. That's going to be a problem moving forward for Fnatic. So since Fnatic are starting on the T side, I'm going to pick Dennis, and I'm going to pick JW specifically post plant if he gets into such positions. I think Mo will be important on the CT side for Gambit in this, and Adren is never a bad look. So let's see what the T's will do in this round. Money's been spent on pistols. That is a perfect Molotov. Olofmeister on the wrong end of that would be very costly to run through it. 3 CTs towards A. Zeus getting his bell run, but not for much damage. He's lucky, or is he? Taken down by Crims.
And now it's Mo trying to just get something in there with that scout. Unlucky though, it's going to be down to the SMGs that remain now for Gambit, and they are relying on Dozier to stay alive in this position. If he can do that, then the flanks can be really effective, and that's fantastic there. That's going to cause a lot of commotion towards Library. Now they have to worry about Adren towards that position. Dozier still a presence as well. The health here on Fnatic means that life is very difficult. The bomb goes down in the apartments, and they all start to fall like dominoes. It's just Dennis left with the M4 here. A very awkward affair for him, and one which will not go all too well. It's Gambit's round. They survived with 3, which is a great result.
A question of damage towards the end. No plants just yet for Fnatic. The third eco will be on the way, and this one is likely to be pure Glocks. Firing potatoes in this round, Fnatic. This is a money-making round for Gambit, or at least they will hope it will be. SMG's quite firmly still in play. You see Mo's holding on to just the Tech 9 because he needs that extra money for the AWP. And that's a common grenade that you used to see on old Inferno as well. I think it bounced off the window there, but it's supposed to bounce off the wall in second mid. So if anybody's running up second mid, they'll get tagged by it. Somehow Zeus dies to a Glock and gives up an M4. What on earth just happened?
Yeah, that's a bit strange, isn't it? He must have been dinked a couple of times or something like that. We'll see though whether Gambit can just hold steady, hold strong, and obviously Dennis is going to be hard pressed to make the best use of it, just due to the fact that the situation on the armor is not perfect. There is no armor, so the aim punch is going to be pretty brutal. So he needs to get that, that strong first bullet accuracy if he wants to have a hope in winning some of these 1 versus 1s. And Gambit are just giving up most of the map towards A, and this due to the fact that they have deep positions on Banana. It allows them to do that. They're going to force Fnatic into close ranges, but that might not be what Gambit really wants, considering that they're running in with these pistols. But Hobbit, he's going for an aggression. There's some nice sniping with an MP9 of all things.
Nice makeshift flashbang as well. This is a really important cleanup. I don't know how Zeus managed to lose his M4, why he's even being aggressive in that situation when he's one of 2 people of 5 with a primary gun, well, a primary rifle, if you will. Everyone else on SMGs, but crisis averted. Mo saved for the AWP, and Mo gets the AWP. Fnatic starting with the AKs. Flusher will be on the UMP, and Grenades didn't quite have the money for everything he wanted. So this is how we begin. The UMP onto Dozier. The UMP proved to be a problem for Dozier on the B bomb site. He was playing aggressive with it. He was doing a lot of things, or trying to, but with mixed success. And again, Dozier will continue his aggression, looking into apartments where Fnatic are headed. No strangers to apartments are the Fnatic side.
There's some noise being made here around second mid, but I'm not sure that anyone's close enough for Gambit to hear that. They know that Fnatic are very scary on these entries, and the apartments is very T-sided these days. So Dozier will eventually fall back out of his position, and we're in a similar spot where they're holding on to an SMG, a couple SMGs. So should Gambit find a way to win this round, it'll be very potent for their economy. And Adren with a great peek there, taking down Olofmeister. And look at the information they have now. They know that Banana's clear. They're going to rotate everybody pretty much back to A, but will it be in time?
55 seconds. You see the Molotovs out to slow down the Ts, and the Ts can have a read on what the CTs are trying to do by expending so much utility. Is there a way for Fnatic to make a rotation? Do they realize what these grenades mean at this point in the game? 2 flashes of smoke. That's what remains here for the CT side. But maybe coming in, but Zeus again not really getting much done. Adren gets taken down as well. This could work out for Fnatic.
Yeah, just 2 players left, and it is really fast falling apart here for Gambit. That's not an AWP shot you can miss. And now Hobbit in a 1 versus 4. That's all he can do really here is to do some damage. They have some money though to Gambit, so this isn't the end of the world. But this is definitely going to go a long way here for Fnatic, as they sorely needed to get rid of some of that Gambit money, and they put themselves on the board straight away, which is again a very crucial fact, because when Gambit was getting momentum on that train, it started to look pretty scary.
Zeus is having a nightmare of a game at the moment. Yeah. Bearing in mind, he was the person trying to keep Hobbit in the right frame of mind on train. When he is just having calamities at the start of Inferno, who is there to keep him in focus? Gambit with 3 players towards the B bomb site, looking for a full take. Adren will have to be careful. Molotovs can spread after a few seconds. And you can see Banana is not quite there, so it could be led into a false sense of security. That flashbang is too short, but a great shoulder pick from Hobbit. That was absolutely perfect. Olofmeister taken down.
Now Fnatic start to make their way towards a JW in the apartments, looking to perhaps get a play out the balcony, but there is of course a smoke there to obscure his vision. And Dozier's position there as well is really smart, just standing on that balcony. He's actually going to drop back off now, but it's a very very good spot to hold here for Gambit, and they've got, once again, all hands on deck here to defend towards the A site. Once again, Gambit are always in great positions from an information perspective. They know that Fnatic are basically going to commit to A at this point because they have Hobbit there, just chilling at the top of Banana, just taking cursory glances down, and Fnatic desperate for a way in.
Hobbit's still holding a grenade, a smoke grenade, and I think it's time to throw it. He's jump peeking, he's waiting for something, but he just needs to deploy it at this point. There are 35 seconds left, get the smoke out. He sees Flusher and runs away, holding a smoke in his hand. Curious stuff. He wants to plant it deeper, it seems. He wants them to be more desperate on time, but desperation will push Fnatic towards the A site where they are so hungry for these kills. The CT's trying double pick, but it's 3 kills for the T's. It falls apart again for Fnatic, for Gambit, sorry. Mo stuck in a crossfire on the site, trying to delay the spray. It will be good enough. What a hero play from Mo. Back and forth these rounds, but it goes the way of Gambit, resetting Fnatic. 4-1 start for the CTs.
One absolute god. That's, again, he was just making the perfect play there with that continuation spray. Understanding there's going to be a player looking for that trade immediately. So smart. Mo is just having an amazing set against Fnatic so far. And I mean, you never expect him in this position to get so many kills. How on earth does he manage to pull this one off? Gambit really looked like they were in so much trouble there.
He's so calm as well.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, this is fine.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Look at this, these weapons from Fnatic. Deagle and a Tech 9 and a couple AKs. No grenades really, just a couple smokes, one flashbang. Fnatic going to have to have something a bit crazy happen for them to make good of this, but it's Hobbit there just pushing them all the way back on Banana. Great start from him.
Oh, Mo caught with a grenade in his hand. Perhaps a warning for him. Repositioning towards the library is Mo, and that's going to waste some more time for Fnatic. A Fnatic who are short on options at the moment, but that's one way to get some back. Krim spraying Hobbit down through the smoke, but he can't push too far. He has the bomb. Meanwhile, Dennis and JW forcing the CTs back towards A, and it seems they may commit to it, or will they?
So it's down to Adrenaline. Is it the anchor on the B-bomb side at the moment, just at the back, waiting patiently
at the back
for the push to arrive? He does have a floater coming his way. It's Mo who's making that rotation, but it's going to be very hard, and Adren is isolated. The smoke's done its job, but will Adren be able to do his job in this position? Get a frag, create delay. He's now got his teammate in tow, Mo there coming in from the coffins. That's a great first shot, so precise. The bomb's been spotted, it's down, and the rotation comes in. JW to respond back though.
Dennis is in the construction, taking Adren down, an unexpected angle, a very important creep. Dozier making his way towards CT, but again, Dozier's on a UMP. UMP seems to be his best friend at the moment. Look at that gap in the smoke. That may run distraction because Yus is making his way up from Banana. He has a better gun. He's got an AK-47. He's got a kit as well. No grenades for any of these players. No flashes, molly smokes, nothing is left. Dozier peeking, trying to create space, but Yus a close one, but JW not quite on the mark. He has support, he has a crossfire with Dennis, but Dennis is trying to hold that construction whilst Yus makes his way in. Almost stereo frags for Fnatic, they make it work. Going back to Mo's rotation, he had two options. He was over towards CT, he had a flashbang and a smoke. He could have flashed into pool, but Adren didn't quite have the angle. There was nothing he could do in that situation, so he chose to not reveal his position, move around to construction and help out that way. But the flank from Dennis, the rotation through construction, maybe won the round there for Fnatic.
Yeah, very, very close up there. And already Gambit making use of a tactical timeout to discuss the situation. Obviously, they're in a position now where their economy is completely ruined. They've just been reset, and they all have between like $1,400 to $2,800. It's not a good look for Gambit. So well, I think what we want to avoid seeing here is just an overinvestment from Gambit. They need to be able to have strong buy rounds, have all the grenades. We've seen how effective they've been when they can go aggressive on Banana and really get that information, and it's really helped them always have good rotations. So to continue that, they're going to need the grenades. So I'm curious what the investment will be here, and they are going to go for a force buy and see what damage they can do.
Man, this force buy sucks.
Could be worse. At least there's some UMPs in there.
Some UMPs, some CZs, and the odd bits and bobs. Lots of people towards second mid, and that's where you might see those grenades bouncing off the wall on second mid, but no. Fnatic are bouncing through mid, straight into the long position. used to see this from some North American teams as well, back in the day. So far, so good, with a man advantage for the T's, but Dozier and Adren are still causing problems. Dozier with that almost infamous UMP, making it 2 versus 2. Hobbit in Banana needs to get his rotation on, but they could be coming to B from CT. But now the information spotted Dozier! He did not know anything about that second kill, but it goes away. Just too much sex god oozing from every orifice. That was a weird one. 5-2 in favor of Gambit. What a way to get a two-man spray down there.
That is insane, isn't it? What do you say about that one? That is just so ridiculous. As he's falling down, oh, there's the last bullet, of course.
Oh, I killed the last one too.
Just look at the surprise there. The funny thing is from, like we were seeing
like,
Dozier.
You cannot be serious!
Dozier didn't react though when that happened. He's like, yep, seems about right. Seems about right.
He's too cool, man. He is all too cool. Fnatic, 4 people again into second mid, but this time, Dan, they've got pistols.
Yes, they have. Very dangerous with that, and it looks like they're going to try to hammer into that A bomb site. And we have Gambit rotating Edren all the way back towards A. So Gambit will have players to deal with this, but the very fast-moving Tech-9s can always provide difficulty, especially with the aid of flashbangs. But Adren gets one, falling back now as they jump across the corner. That's a good result from Adren, though.
Krim's in the arch position. What can he do with this? Zeus with the UMP. That's not going to work out for him. It is a force, but after all, most of these players have got their Kevlar. Almost all the CTs towards the A bomb site. Hobbit with a slower approach. Mo around the corner from Arch. Dozier in the pit. What is the play from Fnatic? Almost resetting the situation, slowing things down. Spotting one CT, but Gambit don't have much information. Hobbit runs all the way back to the B bomb site. They really don't know what to expect. 35 seconds for Fnatic. The longer they wait, perhaps the more the defense on A will be spread thin.
Yeah, it's a really good way to approach the situation. Use that time, you've got it. Oh, nice stuff there from Dozier. Rocking the UMP, and everybody falls down. Good work indeed from Mo to in the middle area. Fnatic having a struggle at the moment. Putting rounds on the board against Gambit, but they will be also in a situation where they don't have an opportunity, really, a good one, to get any rounds on the board right now because they don't have any money. So Gambit are gaining some momentum here, and this is a good round for them to build some bank because Gambit have been taking some heavy hits as well. They're not even in a position to be thinking about an AWP right now. Mo is dirt poor at the moment, as is the rest of his teammates, more or less.
Gambit with the anti-eco play, grenade flying down the mid area. It is not safe to be here. They are laying down the mine. Dozier hearing players in apartments, but Mo has got the angle. There is use in the cleanup. Brief round for Fnatic and Gambit. They don't need to hunt anymore. They can take a somewhat normal formation, or they can just clean out Crims. They can purify the map of Fnatic players, sweep them out one by one. A brief round. We come back onto the buy. 4.5k for most of the Fnatic players, and that means AKs.
Yeah, Dozier just on 12 or 13 kills and 3 deaths at the moment. Easy for Dozier, it seems. That one clutch with the UMP is actually ridiculous. If you think of
it's hilarious.
And this is what I was really looking forward to in this matchup, is the clutch situations, just because this is a great map where, you know, where it just really delivers you really exciting action in that sense. We had one insane one from Mo in a similar position, kind of back against the wall, multiple players, somehow against all the odds makes it work. Dozier with another clutch in a similar way, as mentioned, and those two clutches are so crucial into this 7-2 that we see now.
Zeus looks to proceed with the MP9. I don't think this is going to go well for him, I've got to be honest, but we shall see what he chooses to do. Oh, he's headed towards the B bomb site. Oh, they have started with 3 towards B at the beginning of some of these rounds in case of an early aggression, but as you can see, Fnatic quite favor the second mid approach. Molotovs will be deployed, and Gambit may be successful in a banana take. In the meantime, perhaps Fnatic might have a read that there are 3 towards B at the beginning of these rounds, but what can they do about it? Not much with a smoke down in apartments.
And I still feel really impressed by Gambit's just never really giving up on Banana and always making sure that they get the information there. Some teams just give it up completely. They're too afraid to take it. But Fnatic haven't really responded in just battling back for it, generally speaking. And you can look at the positions now for Gambit. They've got Hobbit really deep on Banana. There's Dren still there to support him. So sure, Fnatic have top mid, but all the information and the fast rotations and flanks are there for the Gambit side.
Fnatic have, though, forced the CTs back towards A, which means a guessing game. And Gambit are running out of grenades. We see the isolation smokes go down towards the long A position. Mo can't see anything. If he was towards Arch, it would be awkward for him. So he is denied information, and the spray will reveal the position he's playing. And maybe Fnatic can read more into the rest of the CTs thanks to that spray, but surely they can't expect to use up close because he's got the MP9 hiding behind that barrel. Might be full of wine, but now the floor is full of crimson. He gets taken down by JW, and they are not storming inside. They're going back, but there are 20 seconds. What are they doing?
Yeah, massive risk here, and Adren stops Olofmeister. This kind of just stops the play entirely. Olof needed to get that kill against Adren, but Adren can now hold this position for as long as he can. 13 seconds. Actually, this might be possible now for Fnatic. Adren, can he stop the plant from going down? Trying to take one fight. He knows he has to stop the plant. He can't get it in time. It's so close. And now it's down to Dozier. In a 1 versus 4, he's able to swap for an AK, but still the odds couldn't be more against him.
That spray was everything from Adren. He understood the situation. You saw he didn't try to take a fatal engagement, just wanted to see where the bomb planter was. Found him, but can't quite land that fatal bullet. So close, but no cigar for that one. Third round, a desperate third round on the board for Fnatic. So much momentum going the way of Gambit, but they don't have a lot of cash, Gambit. These have been some expensive rounds for them. They can buy going into the next round. Dozier sitting on $7,400. But the comeback can be on for Fnatic. Another tactical timeout, this time from Gambit.
Yeah, and it really goes to show how important it is to have a lot of players alive when you're in this kind of situation that Fnatic is in, because if they went down to one player, they're in a spot where if they do get reset, there's just no chance to fight back, and Gambit have already got so many rounds that could be really, really bad. But obviously now they have an extra bit of leeway should the worst happen in this situation, but as you mentioned, there is enough on Gambit to get the AWP into play, and we haven't really seen too much in the way of AWPs, to be honest, especially not from Mo just yet, because Gambit's economy, even though they've been winning rounds, has just been getting absolutely hammered, and oh, this was so close. But it feels almost as though it's about time that Fnatic get a bit of fortune, considering the kinds of clutches we've already seen from the Gambit side.
Adren knows he is much better than that. Lost from the first bullet onwards. 4 rounds between the two teams, and only 2 plays will start on the... wait, Zeus is AFK. Zeus is completely AFK in spawn, and he's just leaving now. Okay, seems everything's fine. He'll be playing the library position. Maybe he's got no choice. Not sure what he was doing, but he is where he is. So the AWP is indeed in the game. Okay, Zeus and Mo, they're exchanging positions now. Zeus on the side, and it's time to move quickly. Dozier, does he have time to get the kill? Zeus perfectly poised for support. Mo's there as well, but he's going to get taken down. Look at these trades! Down to the 2-on-2, rotation from the CTs through CT spawn.
Yeah, and the money is so bad for Gambit. This is a must-win for them. They don't want to be reset, and we can see them starting to come in now with these M-Force. Only a single smoke here for Hobbit. That could make the difference, though, if it's placed well. Might be forced into a throw soon. They're both interested in coming through the library position and not in splitting up just yet. Very hard to deal with Dennis in this spot right now, able to just crouch behind this cover, play the headshot angles. You don't know when he's going to peek up. Beautiful use of the smoke to nullify that position. Try to isolate Olofmeister here. As Olof goes around the crate, gets himself one onto Hobbit, and they play it perfectly to Fnatic as they put their 4th round on the board, and indeed, the money is all gone for Gambit, more or less.
Hand in hand, like a pair of figure skaters, Fnatic, with a beautiful finish to that round. Some nice teamwork from them. Loss bonus is not spectacular for Gambit. They'll get 2,400 for losing this round, but that should be enough for them to buy in the next one. They'll try to keep things dangerous with the purchase of some CZ, Deagle onto Dozier. Normal format in the sense that there are no more than 3 people on either bomb site, but Zeus and Hobbit have gone for a walk. Perhaps a trilogy in 3 parts. Maybe JW will make it a short story.
This is very, very expected, I think, sometimes, seeing those pistols in the apartments. Oh my, what is going on right there? Dozier being paid off, taking down Zeus, but Hobbit in the distraction able to find himself a kill onto second mid. Now this gets a bit interesting, as there's 2 players for Gambit on the B bomb side at the moment, and it might be very convincing for Fnatic to go that way, because that's the only thing that they know about, essentially. They have banana control, that's all the map control they really have. It'd probably be too risky now, just as 3 players, to try to venture towards the A side of the map, so...
Problem is, in this situation, Fnatic will be thinking, Gambit are everywhere in the apartments towards A, so there's a reasonable chance they've stacked the B bomb site. So we could, there's no good option for Fnatic at this point. Whatever they choose, it will be a gamble, and they've chosen B, and indeed 3 players will be at the B bomb site for the CTs. So Dozier's on the outside, Adren taken down will make life easier. It is only pistols on these players. Mo with the USP. Oh, he's going to ring Crimson's belt more than once. That's Crims down, and now he can run distraction, but Dozier can't get anything fatal, leaving Hobbit in banana versus 2. The bomb still has to go down. He can use that to try and guarantee a 1 versus 1, and he's picked up an AK.
Oh my god, Hobbit might have a perfect situation if they line up for him, but he's playing the angle smart, looking for a peek. Hobbit knows what's up at the moment. It's all a matter of patience and focus as he looks for the first kill, and look how fast he's just playing with him. Oh man, Hobbit's so good. Can't get the next one though. The aim punch too dangerous there from Olofmeister. And Fnatic, they win the round, but only with a single player left standing there. That was a close one. And if you consider that Gambit only had pistols.
Yeah, hey boy, did he make them pay for that. And if you look at the money that will be left on both teams after they have brought everything up in this round, this is going to be a big round to see who has a great chance of taking things down. Zeus in good spirits, that is great to see, especially from your captain when you just shot your captain in the head.
So Olaf going to start things off with a pick towards Banana, and that's really important against Gambit. Again, we mentioned how good Gambit have been at just taking control towards Banana. It's one of the first rounds where they're not going to have information there. So Fnatic with a perfect start, Adren down to 17 as well. Crims looking to get the entry. Lovely duel there from Zeus though, and a much needed frag here to even things up. Wow, even goes better for them. Dennis tries to trade, but he fails. And where does this leave Fnatic?
They've dug themselves out of deeper holes, that's for sure, the Fnatic side. And that is one of their great strengths, is the ability to make plays in difficult situations. Never quite out of a round are Fnatic. And they've got time to play with. 1 minute on the clock. Flusher looking for answers to questions towards B. Meanwhile, some of his team are deep towards long. But there's no one there, and they may wonder why. And Mo on the Speedway might be the answer. JW passed the angle, but he has a good read, good awareness on what the situation might be. The bomb rotating now. Zeus has got a lot to do, but I think he's revealed his position with a jump already. Slowly but surely, he's going to have to creep in, but he's got to buy time for his teammates in CT spawn.
That's an awkward angle to try to play off of those headshot positions, and looks like Gambit, they don't want any part of this. Again, their money is really not in the best place, to be honest, so they're going to try to save these guns. And with the round loss bonus approaching $2,900 in this lost round for the Gambit side, they can try to drop 2 guns, the 2 surviving players, and have 4 players on rifles. Well, 3 rifles, 1 AWP, and maybe 1 unlucky soul relegated to perhaps a UMP at best. But that is still a very workable situation. The only issue might be some grenades, but Fnatic, taking some momentum here, really looking good to perhaps make it look like the first map, James. We thought it was all going Fnatic's way, then all of a sudden we get a 7-8 scoreline. This could be the same story here.
Could be a mirror. Gambit just 1 round in the lead now. Awkward for their money this round. But it seems they're going to buy around it. They're going for the 9-6 Gambit. The UMP's coming out once again. Dozier with 14 kills, offering good support for his teammate Zeus from the pit position. I'm sure that's where he's headed once again. Zeus seemed to be going towards the... Okay, Zeus was going towards B, then he's going towards A. Now he's going back towards the B bomb site. Close, awkward, and taken down. Dren. Big gap in that smoke, and it will cause them problems early.
I wonder if Dren decided to make the play because he heard the collision sound of the grenade onto Olofmeister there. That grenade, so important. Really weird spot here for the Gambit side. Mo definitely wants to try to get a play the grenade team and try to move things up, not allow Fnatic to just run around. 5 versus 4, straight into a bomb site. That's really the worst case scenario for Gambit. How do you get an edge back in this situation? If you push out and die, then around the grenade team and try to move things up, not allow Fnatic to just run around. Have control over the information right now once again though. And so they have 3 scenarios for Gambit. How do you get an edge back in this situation? If you push out and die, then they've already shown they are trying to move things up, not allow Fnatic to just run around. Have control over the information right now once again.
Hobbit trying to get some cheeky peeks in towards B, and again you see him holding his smoke, which he would prefer to drop a bit higher up. He's got to be careful now. Noise is being made, gets around the corner just in time, but will Fnatic force their way through this smoke? Again, it's a bad smoke. These smokes not really working out for Gambit at the moment, but that will. He's got some flashes coming in towards a pull position. Only good for the 1 kill though. What does Zeus do? He's by the smoke. There's a flank coming in from the T's as well. This could collapse. We've got flanks on flanks. Then there's one behind him as well. This is going either way. Mo takes Dennis down. He's the last flanker. Now the 1 versus 2 with both T's on the sites.
Oh, gets caught by Olofmeister though, unfortunately for him, and it's 7-7. Fnatic tying things back up, and indeed, that double back towards Banana. It's been pretty successful for the Fnatic on multiple occasions, playing these really slow and drawn out rounds, especially when Gambit were in a position where they were down 1 man. It's really a very awkward spot to be in, so we'll have to see if Gambit can make a play here. Mo is going to be playing in the AWP with no Kevlar, so it's very risky for him to play aggressively, because if he meets any grenades, he's likely going to get screwed. So we'll see how it goes for Mo here in the opening stages of this round. Ooh, Zeus down to 50 health there, jumping straight across middle.
Very cheeky indeed. That would normally suggest a play through Boiler, perhaps towards the balcony position. Not often you see that jump being made in a professional match without any peeking, but there it is. And again, Hobbit on his own towards Banana. And you can see that smoke he's been deploying has been inconsistent and costly, but there are no more smokes left for the CT side, apart from the one on Zeus, and he's over towards A, deep in the site himself. Now we've seen it was more common on old Inferno when you see a smoke on the site itself. But I don't really see much of that at the moment on new Inferno. It can cause problems for a T side when they have time pressure and can buy time. But here we are, the last round of the first half. Olofmeister top mid on his own with the AWP. The rest of his team making inroads towards B.
Gambit playing the crossfire, playing the defense without going too aggressive here, and Flusher spots one. Repositioning coming in there from Hobbit into the back of the bomb site. Adren still close with the mag 7 and first oranges. He is going to be quite key here. How much can he get from this position? They're starting to move in. They find the angle though. Adren unable to get much here. Same story for Hobbit. Zeus rushing to their aid, but he's too slow and he gets removed by Crims as well. And now it's just Dozier and Mo against 4 players on the retake.
They've got to go for this. It's the last round. Choice has been taken away. And Flusher will take Mo away, leaving Dozier in a horrible position, but only for a few seconds. Lovely headshot from Flusher to give Fnatic an 8-7 lead moving into the second half.
So yeah, basically the same story as the first map on that first half. Very, very close. Impossible to tell which way this one's going to go at this point. But Gambit always very enjoyable to watch on that T side. A lot of funky plays is what I'm looking to see out of them. The same can be said for Fnatic. I mean, you can get quite aggressive on this map. And again, you might see JW do ridiculous things like pushing apartments with an AWP, something which is way less common these days, just because the apartments are so much more dangerous than they used to be.
It's interesting the prevalence of UMPs we have seen on the CT side of Gambit. I know that's just gone now, but I do wonder if the damage drop-off update has hurt them, because they haven't had much success with those. But anyway, perhaps the UMP nightmare has gone for Gambit. We'll see what their T approach is when it comes. But for now, it's pistol time for both teams. Dennis, quite infamous as a complete mentalist on pistol rounds, looking for some openings, looking to abuse the range of his USP, but nothing doing just yet.
And Gambit looking for that play up the banana area. And the danger might be JW. If he can get a clean pop before they move in, that's very devastating. Oh, just trying to peek there. With that deagle is a Dren. It's Flusher though, starts things off. JW might be looking to get his head back in there as well for some peeks. And it's Zeus able to shut JW down. Flusher forced to go back in towards construction. Hobbit's got a bullet with his name on it. And now a plant can, or should be able to go down. But actually the bomb is in a really weird position. It's going to be impossible to collect.
Dozier taking Dennis down eventually, but indeed it is very awkward. Facing the double pick from the construction angle for sure. And we'll see what happens if they both go this way. Are they USP select? Hobbit's managed to find one. Maybe that will make the difference. They've got time. There are 40 seconds on the clock to have these awkward duels. And the funny thing is, the CTs could actually run out of bullets in this situation, but that will certainly help. Hobbit taken down, Olofmeister in the red, and finally Dozier will collect that bomb.
And he's going to have a safe plan as well. So at the very least, they can guarantee third round AKs at the very least, or even a funky buy in the next round to keep the pressure on. That's very important, having that bomb planted. Dozier now, it's going to feel like he's done his job just collecting that bomb and planting it. But there's still a chance to take the round here as Dozier looks to try to get this clutch going. He's got no ability to really take any shots here. Olofmeister pressuring the bomb, tapping it, trying to force Dozier out into the open. Dozier makes the first shot. Now things get dangerous here. Crims has a lot of health, but Dozier has got headshots for days. Going for the hold here. Very brave! Oh! Gambit get the round! That was so close!
That is every pistol round so far. 4 of 4 pistol rounds have gone the way of Gambit. That's going to really make life difficult for Fnatic, so close. Crims left with nothing but the hero play. Olofmeister only had 10 bullets left when they started going for those duels once the bomb had gone down. Great presence of mind from Dozier. Did not believe in the first touch of the bomb, just holding that angle. And Olofmeister went in for sacrifice. Full spy from the CTs, apart from JW. He's got 1250 in the bank. Ideally in this round, you want 1500. He's got a bit less than that. Olofmeister taking some early damage. Dozier harassing the apartment, shooting through the wall. Now, maybe you might argue on train, 1 or 2 anti-ecos, anti-force spikes. Gambit may have been too carried away on their T side. But they have a relaxed and measured approach for now. Some grenades from Fnatic, and Gambit have got the time to wait them out.
And Mo, can he get the information? Can he get that information? Will he attempt to get the information? Certainly would it be his job with that Mag-10. That said, at the same time as well, some teams do favor, and it's definitely, if you have a great grenade placement with the Molotovs, you can just carpet bomb this entire bomb site. It doesn't matter if they've stacked it, and then if you run in with SMGs, you can just clean the round up very easily. But you've got to be careful if you just go for raw peaks without the use of Molotovs. We're going to see a couple Molotovs in here, but very dangerous positions. Look at Crims go there from the flower pots. He's spotted immediately and dealt with. It's very important, and 2 players just chilling by the new box. It's not going to work out either. However, Flusher and Dennis picking up frags now make this very awkward.
Oh, Dennis getting his bell rung through the smoke. 12 HP remains, and that might make life easier. Indeed it will. Mo finishing things off, collecting an AK as well. Nice upgrade from his Mag-10. Farming cash was Mo, and there's more farming to be done. Grass looks fertile with Fnatic, unable to buy much in this round. Mostly on $2,000. JW maybe AWP no helmets in the next round, a buy round. All important buy round for Fnatic, but for now they have to wait. JW spending a bit extra, looking to make a play with a high explosive grenade. If he can get some good damage in, then perhaps his teammates can follow up afterwards, but it'll be minimal damage. Only Hobbit taking an L on that one.
And Mag-10's abound here for Gambit. It's always a lot of fun getting that Mag-10 into play, and 3 players just spotted by a Dren. So perhaps now that's going to absolutely cue his team to go in towards B here with a couple of players that they had around the top banana position. But there is a lurker around here, will be caught. That's JW gone. So the scariest parts of the round here are over for the Gambit Gaming side. They've got a bomb side, they've got a bomb plant. They've killed most of Fnatic, looking good for that 10-8 scoreline. And The problem for Fnatic, comes in the shape of maybe not having enough utility in some of these future rounds, maybe not getting the AWP onto JW enough, or maybe not having an economy which JW is going to be confident risking by going aggressive with the AWP, because you don't want to make crazy plays if you don't have any security on your economy generally.
With the investment that JW made, he is unable to afford armor in this round. We saw the same from KennyS. But it's interesting, he saved for the AWP, but he didn't save enough for Kevlar. And that can impact the positions he can take up, but maybe he already had them in mind. JW heading towards the B bomb sites. And he has a, this position, he will be less susceptible to grenades than if he went for something aggressive towards Banana. So, if he has a particular plan in mind, he can make it work, but it is limiting without any protection from grenades. Those are lining up a smoke towards the arch position. 1 minute 20. I don't expect a fast round from Gambit, but they're already more or less in control of Banana.
Yeah, it's definitely looking quite good for them here. They can set up all the grenades. JW, though, always a danger present. There's number 1 from JW. How many will he make it, though, as Flusher will get challenged. Good flashbang, and Zeus making it quite awkward. JW, though, swooping in from the side. Eliminates Mo, and there's still more work to be done as he holds on to construction.
3 versus 4, the last man still rotating. Just now for Fnatic, trying to force their way through construction. There's a Molotov remaining on Gambit, and that's about it. Dozier will have to dedicate himself to the flank for the time being, but there's nobody there. They're all coming in from CT. 3 players, the funnel through construction. Is it going to work out? Going for the wide peak, because one of these players, that's not going to work out for him, though. 2 versus 3, they're still checking the back, especially with Olofmeister alive. Surely he's coming in from the back, but no, they're all at the front now. Smoke's down, and the hero defuse can come in from the CT side. JW to cover, and there won't be any kills. What an absurd retake from Fnatic.
That is some good counter-strike there from them, and especially JW, able to get just these kills, these cheeky frags, just repositioning, swooping around, holding angles for his team.
4K for JW.
Getting the quad kill in the round ultimately, and that is so important for Fnatic. Now they put themselves in a position where this is a sort of make-or-break situation for both teams. Both economies are terrible, so whichever team wins this round, they'll be playing against Nico in the next. And as we're now playing out round 20, it starts to get even more impactful. But where will the first frag happen? We've seen Mo taking some risks here or there. He's been quite good at getting those pickoffs. Looking for JW perhaps, but JW playing it passively as well. And he will have a challenge here. A head perhaps might appear, and JW knows exactly what's going on. It's a great shot, very patient. But what do Gambit respond with?
They've got so many grenades, I don't know why they don't use some of them to clear out these angles. They will be subject to grenades by the CT side. 5 versus 3, it's abandoned ship towards the B bomb site. What can be had towards A? In fact, the bomb will stay towards top Banana for now. And the trend's making his way towards second mid, perhaps, just in case Fnatic have taken up some forward positions. In that previous round, it seems Gambit just wanted to employ shock to move into the B bomb site. But a simple flashbang over the roof will take out many, many positions.
30 seconds remaining now for Gambit to find a way back into this one. JW still looking for shots, but Smoke will deny him and force some repositioning. And now Gambit looking to get in there. JW smoked off again. This is what we need to see here. Just keep JW out of the picture for long enough, and you can get the bomb site. Flushes in the back though, cause problems. Nicely done by Dozier. Finds the kill there. Adren as well comes in. All of a sudden, win a 3v3 off the plant. Gambit looking good.
Again, the CTs, they still have an extra man because Gambit don't know if anybody's in Banana, but nobody is. JW focusing from the CT position. They're lining up for him, but he won't get a single kill, leaving Crims. How have Gambit done this? Planting the bomb with 12 seconds. Such an awkward fight. 3 versus 5, and they all survive. 3v5 to 3v0 for Gambit. What excellent play from them. It's broken the money of Fnatic, and that's got to be a massive boost for your team.
And like you were saying, you know, just using the grenades. They didn't use them in the early round, but they sure as hell used them effectively towards the end there. JW just seemingly just without a single opportunity to fire a shot off, and that was so incredibly crucial. So again, Gambit under a lot of pressure, still making sure that they're diligent and composed and doing all the things, like all the details, because sometimes in these high pressure situations, when your back's against the wall and the pace is high, it's very easy to forget the simple things, but Gambit don't, and that is ultimately why they are now 11-9 against Fnatic. A Fnatic without any money. Is this now the sprint for Gambit, the last bit of momentum they need to bring this to a close, James?
Still time for Fnatic to get some momentum, but they'll have to wait. It is a USP round for the Swedish side. Their money's not in the right place. So we'll see what the anti-eco looks like for Gambit. 4 players of AKs, full grenades. Hopefully this time they'll use them a bit more. CT's making their way into the apartments late on when they don't expect somebody peeking, but see Dozier has a nice angle. When you're deep in this corner where Dozier is now, it's harder to see the balcony. The new balcony is more obscures your vision more than the old balcony did. So it's harder to be as effective. Your spray needs to be on point. Hobbit taken down by USP, but surely Gambit can clean this up.
Yeah, once again, you just look for some good usage of their utility, and they should be fine in this position. Obviously, Hobbit's AK not too recoverable here for Fnatic, and that's something that Gambit can be happy about, that's for sure. As Zeus looks to try to get information here towards the arch side. Oh, so scary, isn't it? He doesn't really have any teammates too close to him to go for trades, but he does have Dozier in the A site, and it looks like everything will be fine from this position forwards.
That's so curious, because he had 2 players next to him. You can see Dennis has not been checked out. Still time to clear this up, but Zeus had 2 players top mid next to him. When he stood on the initial corner, somebody shot at him from arch. He knows that he could be walking into a setup, but still they don't have any grenades there. Just walks in. You know, he gets more, when you see the player towards the site, near library, gets even more hairy, but just walks into it without the grenades regardless. I mean, what if he goes down there? What happens then? I think the element of surprise, perhaps, is what he was playing on. Either way, it's a 3-round lead for Gambit. Fnatic back on the buy, but look at the buy. Crims on the MP9, Olaf Meister with a French gun. And they've not had much success in this tournament.
Yep, very true. Very true, and it's going to be interesting to see if Fnatic can do much with so little grenades, and whether Gambit will play a slow rounds, try to bait out those grenades, because if they're able to do so, it gets really difficult for Fnatic, and Gambit can play with all the advantages, and that's going to be very comfortable for them. So one would expect Fnatic to be looking for any bit of information, to go for some intuitive play, just find a way to get an advantage before Gambit closing on the wrong side. Dennis, unable to get any advantages, will miss the shot. Hard one to hit indeed, and Gambit edge ever closer. They've got top middle now, and they can still go B as well. There's a minute to play with, so Fnatic not jumping the gun just yet.
Hobbits went all the way back to bottom mid with the bomb to see if anybody was banana. They have no map control, no possession there. If he gets picked off, what happens? There's 4 of his teammates towards top mid, so I don't know why the bomb isn't left with one of those or left around that middle area. He's the one taking the risks at the moment, but fortunately for them, that isn't the case. The CT start running in with the kills. 30 seconds remain for Gambit to try and turn this around again. 3 versus 5. They've done it before. Can they do it again?
Yeah, it's a really tough spot. They're walking into a setup. Fnatic looking really comfortable here to hit the shots. They don't need the grenades when they have these crossfires to play with. And there's Hobbit. He's gone. He's now down to Dozier in this position. And there it is. A trio of defenders arrive onto the scene for Fnatic. Gambit, they were perhaps a bit too indecisive, James, indeed, with the bomb down there and at the T-slope and all.
Yeah, it's curious. Gambit can buy again. They've got a 2-round cushion, but that cushion may continue to get more uncomfortable if things do not go their way. Fnatic on the comeback trail. Again, Fnatic a map down at the moment. Double orbs now for the CT side. JW joining the fray. He'll be over towards the B bomb site for the time being, and Dennis will continue on short. Was on long previously, so again, the Fnatic mixing up the locations of their snipers. Dennis will concentrate on a peek from Boiler, which may be inevitable, while Olofmeister will keep eyes on top mid. Some good team play. Here comes the Trent. Will he walk straight into it? Could be a nasty surprise for him. There's a grenade towards short, but is there a flash?
The focus from Dennis, finally forced to look away, instantly taking the angle back again. So much focus as he waits patiently. It's always hard with the cold angles when there's nothing going on. Gambit really running the clock down at the moment. A minute left to play with, and they're just holding their grounds, setting up smokes. Fnatic's waiting so patiently, going to rely upon playing very passively.
I think Dennis moved back in case there was an apartment play. Might get pinched in the short position. Does have a player in pit, but they can have a stronger defense elsewhere. And again, Fnatic forced back from top mid, which means minimal information. And now Dennis is towards that arch area. Gambit starting to execute. All the team are here. Zeus making his way through arch. Will he go through the smoke though? That could be the hero play for the side. He needs to come in fast. Could be the 60-man spray. That's not fast enough, but he goes back, and it works out for him. 2 versus 2 on the B bomb site, with the third man rotating from B for the CTs.
Hero and Zeus. Now the bomb can go down, and JW looking for that first shot as he just rounds the corner with the AWP. Dozier comes in from above. That's so important. Zeus now alone in 1 versus 2. There's one. There's one more to deal with though. Flusher pushing his position, trying to bait the shot, trying to go for it. Oh, and he still connects it just on the legs. Absolutely heartbreaking there for Zeus, but what an attempt there, bringing his team almost into the round victory. But Fnatic keep their chances alive.
Is that the difference between success and failure for Gambit? Pushed onto the eco, backs to the wall by Fnatic. You wonder if that tension starts to rise. So close. Just slightly above the belt line, and the round is theirs. Tactical timeout from Gambit. They have 1 remaining after this. Maybe it's just to collect their thoughts, or maybe a slight tweak of a tactic, some strategy, or maybe more than that. Lots of talking in the booth. Good to see. Good to see Dozier performing as well. He was, despite all the UMPs, he was racking up the frags on the on train, and he's currently leading with 23 kills on the server.
And it is very interesting too, just because if you're thinking about, how do you adjust your strategy against Fnatic, they've actually generally been playing quite passively. They've been allowing Gambit to take positions and then just relying on having a good guess as to where Gambit are going to go, having a good setup on the bomb site, and they've been trading so effectively in these positions, even with some of the amazing flashbang work that we've seen out of the Gambit side there. And it's time to go. It's 12 for Gambit, 11 for Fnatic. Just a bunch of Tech 9s here for Gambit. 1 AK, a handful of grenades. What is the play here? They're a bit spread out at the moment, taking control of Banana and harassing the Boiler, looking for that initial control of the map so that Fnatic have less of an idea of what they're going to do.
Rounds such as this have been difficult for the team of the Rifles so far in this series. Gambit so close to reaching top mid, and here they are. Dennis manages to get onto the side again. It's going to be looking for a crossfire. Olofmeister could be a god grenade, but they're moving forward. A great think with the pistol, but Zeus takes him down. That's going to force Flusher into CT just in case. Crim's holding things down in the meantime from the balcony, but it could be a wrap towards B. Flusher fails. That's going to leave JW alone. They can split the site now. Hobbit from Banana.
But he's got an AWP, he's been hitting these shots all day as JW lines up towards CT from construction. Will they be ready for this? Nice first shot there from JW. That's one. There's another quickly approaching. Here's the sound cues there. A whiff, and the smoke might be a godsend there for him to help him stay alive in this position as he may look to go around the back here as Dennis comes into play. Caught on the side though by Adren. And all of a sudden it's down to Hobbits.
That's a great peek from Hobbit, taking JW down, leaving Crims alone. I don't know if he's been spotted. He's got 2 kills, so surely he must have been. Crims in the red. What does he do in this situation? all he can do is dry peek. He's got no grenades. Hobbit playing an off angle, and that's going to save him from the pre-fire. Hobbit feeling the tension, but he will prevail, be successful for his team once again, and reset Fnatic. Tech9's Kevlar, ever dangerous on Train and on Inferno as well.
Gambit are actually in such a strong position to close this map out right now. They should be moving without too much difficulty to 14 if they can do or execute a very good anti-force buy round. And again, they have that in their bag of tricks. Now, Fnatic, I mean, they've done it so many times from this position before. When their backs are against the wall, they've got only some pistols. They find a way, these Fnatic players. Gambit taking a timeout just to get everybody on the same page, to calm them down a bit, because this round is so big for them. Fnatic have spent all their money, James, all of it.
Four high explosive grenades. Fnatic looking for a Worms-esque cluster bomb to bring them a 12th round. Will it be a slow play with these grenades? Will it be a fast play and a rush down mid and banana? Seems it will be the latter. Not going to give the game away immediately. Grenades everywhere. And there's the first one. And Gambit have got some grenades as well. Just keeping an eye on the deployment. Flusher and JW have 2 of the 3 grenades. But even once these grenades have come and gone, there goes another one. There are very dangerous pistols behind, and you will want to keep an eye on the clock in a round such as this. Keep an eye on the clock, the Molotovs and flashbangs for Gambit.
And Mo looking for that pick in middle. The crowd with Gambit at the moment. Still no one dying in the round just yet. 45 seconds to go now for Gambit to make the play. So they're getting themselves back into the banana position as well, but time is starting to drop, James. We've all seen it happen before when a team in a round like this doesn't give themselves enough time. Things can get really bad, and there's the first frag going the way of Fnatic.
25 seconds, and this is the nightmare that you are so familiar with. 3 players remaining. CT's creeping through the smoke. Boost coming in. How do they get the bomb down? Those who continue both. The Bedlam is coming in. Flusher picked off. CT's in construction, in banana. What does Mo cover? He could get shanked. Around the corner, completely missing Crim. It's Dozier with that UMP. No time to reload. Olafmeister going past, trying to pre-fire, but that's going to be that. Fnatic make it work, and again, being too careful can lead to your demise as well. Fnatic get their 12th round on the board.
Wow, and is it a case of playing a bit too scared there, Gambit? They knew what that round meant, how close it would get them to closing the game out, but now Fnatic are truly back in it, and it's Gambit that have money problems. They'll be able to get together a force buy here featuring AK-47s, but they will be onto some Tech-9s as well. Enough utility, though, to build a decent round regardless, but Fnatic, they're in a really good spot here, and Olafmeister's the one brandishing the AWP at the moment. He's got a great spawn to go down middle, perhaps, to see if he goes for it. Let's see what he gets. How deep will the peak be? Not all the way to the slope.
Yeah, this is the new standard peak. Top mid on Inferno. If you were wondering what that cheering was earlier, Smacks went for a stroll, so just imagine what tomorrow's going to be like, but we're still in today. Gambit, maybe their best chance to close this map out has come and gone. Time will tell. It's almost difficult to not see the round ending that way once we were halfway through. Gambit, though, there's still a lot for them to do here with these 3 AKs. They can wait out this smoke. They've got some flashes. See, Fnatic are setting up for a counterplay. Not always successful is that boost. Seems Gambit are tired of waiting. Hobbit, that's a great headshot from him, being flushed for alone on B.
Yeah, he's pretty low as well. Down to half health now as he tries to play around the new box, trying to peek his way to success, but all he'll do is peek his way to death now as Mo picks up the kill. Hobbit in a great off angle here. Oh, so close to catching Olof. He was desperately weak though, and now it's Olof just quickly making his way forwards, but blocked by his smoke. Very frustrating there for him. Perhaps with his teammate they'll consider maybe a boost depending on how much time is left on that smoke, and we can see Gambit now. All they need to do is wait and hold their positions as Fnatic make their way in from construction. And Dozier looks for that first man. Who is going to peak first? As Fnatic are in a lot of trouble. There it is. Great second connection from Dozier and Mo as well. Gambit moved to 14 and Fnatic once again back in the doldrums with no money to speak of.
How is this happening? How are these rounds going back and forth like this? When the chips are down, both teams are making it work, but the chips are truly down for Fnatic. It's almost a chip in a chair at this point, trying to stave off match points for Gambit. Gambit on 14 rounds at the moment. The money for Fnatic absolutely sucks. They've got the CT side, and maybe Gambit will make the mistake, but here's a replay. Perfect positioning from Dozier. Really nice stuff from him. 2K, Mo finishing things off. But now, one would assume Fnatic will come in for the force buy. And it's down to Gambit to deal with this. Where are your anti-eco, anti-force buy strategies? You've got the Molotovs, you've got the grenades. Keep it simple, and don't run the clock down too much.
Oh my god, that's savage damage there with the grenades. Oh my god. That's like almost 200 damage with grenades, James. That is pretty huge.
Maybe that's too simple.
And they have pistols as well. So these players are so squishy all of a sudden, but still picking up the kills. That's the important part there for the Gambit side now as they march into A. And I think, indeed, keeping it simple, playing the trays, playing the Molotovs, playing into position onto the A site. Zeus with a very good shot there onto Dennis. It looks like the crisis perhaps is averted.
Yeah, a lot of people throwing grenades at the same time on short, which could spell disaster, but didn't on this occasion. And this is a much better round. They've taken the game away from Fnatic. They have not given them opportunity to cause mayhem, to run through smokes when they're 20 seconds down and somebody's compelled to plant the bomb. It's worked out for Gambit. They've learned their lesson, and that's what's important as they move towards match points. Again, 55% of you expected a Fnatic W. The comeback is still possible, but it's Gambit on match points.
But the crazy thing too has been, for me, how amazing Gambit have been on those pistol rounds. And that's something that Fnatic will certainly be frustrated at. But it's all about this last round here. Once again, Fnatic with no money to buy with. We're going to see UMPs, we're going to see CZs. A 5-7, some grenades, 1 kit. This is a rough situation. And it's Zeus actually only playing with a Tech 9. That's an interesting one. Either way, it's actually quite good. I mean, a Tech 9 or a Mac 10 makes you very good at getting information. Don't give a gun away, you're expendable. But Zeus won't get a kill, so that could be problematic. We'll see if that impacts Gambit as they push forwards towards middle and deal with Dennis.
Yeah, that's a very interesting strat. Seems he didn't even want to give up an SMG because he had 5750, I think, in the bank. More than enough cash to buy a weapon. So a very curious play when you've got match points. Maybe if they're successful, we can ask about that later on. But for now, there are 3 smokes down in the B bomb site, and it seems Gambit are willing to proceed in this situation, and they've made a right play. They've taken a gamble. This time it works out because nobody's in B, but there are CTs in construction. There are 2 smokes for Gambit, so they can make life easier post-plants. How much gambling do Fnatic want to do? Well, there is the situation. Mo holding down Banana. Crims is in mid. What is his play? Oh, he's got to ring the bell, but Mo can still go for the repeat here. How far would he go with this Mo? Getting closer now is Crims. Mo missing the shots, the pressure too much, maybe.
Yeah, that's very awkward, isn't it? However, Hobbit still holding down the position. Crimso takes down Hobbit as well. Flusher, though, 2 weak, 2 HP, and now he's dead. Adren on the bomb site. Very responsible. The double peaks coming in. Gambit Gaming will make their way to the semi-finals. Beautiful stuff from them. Composure, great counter-strike. We saw clutches, we saw everything, James, for them to be in this position.
A solid 2-0. A 2-0 that Gambit can be proud of. They were my favourite for this particular matchup. I thought they were more of a team versus the individual play, we said at the beginning. And they made it work. The team play, they made it work for the side. Gambits with a massive victory, a massive scalp taken as they continue in this tournament.
And you can see this is definitely a result the crowd are enjoying at the moment as the teams shake hands. And Gambit are such a scary team. One of the teams that no one really expected to really make it this far, but they've done it, and they are showing us on stage that even when the pressure's on them, that they can perform and they can clutch, and that is so exciting.
Indeed, and you know, the results in the last few months may have not been the most amazing, but they are definitely giant killers, and maybe they are giants themselves. It's a story that is still unfolding here at the PGL Major here in Poland. Many more big matches to come in Poland. That's just the beginning of it. Again, Virtus Pro lurking. When you hear some random cheering, probably means the Virtus Pro player is going for a stroll, but there's many more good games to come today before we get to Virtus Pro.
SK Astralis is a pretty big game, James. That's on the way. That is going to be an insane game. I can't wait to see what the atmosphere is like in this arena. And of course, the winner is going to be up against Gambit. And you know, what do you even expect from Gambit at this point if you're going to be playing them? It's going to be very interesting, but it does seem like we have Scoots on stage.
Hello, yes, I do have the man, the myth, Adrian. You came into this top-ranked guy in the Half-Life 2 ranking, kicking everyone's butt in your first 3 matches. Now you've kicked Fnatic's butt, your map and their map. Very well done. How you feeling right here in front of the crowd?
I feel so great. Thank you guys for cheering for us. Thank you.
Now, I'm going to stay away from too many technical questions because the boys at the desk are going to get into that. I do have to bring up the fact that this was like old school 1.6. You won all 4 pistol rounds, which almost in the old days guaranteed a win. You shut down Dennis, who's their pistol monster. Did you intentionally do that, you know, in the sense of anti-strategy, or just the way it worked out?
Actually, we didn't practice our pistol round, so it was some improvisation. So everything went good for us.
Very impressive. One more question. SK or Astralis, who you want to play?
We don't mind. I don't care who play. I'm going to win this tournament.
I'm going to win this tournament, he says. All right, Paul, you heard it. Back to you.
They are breaking the habit. Gambit finally, after 3 times in the quarterfinals, having met Fnatic, have moved 1 step closer to the grand final. They are through to the semis for the first time. There is a man in their ranks, of course, who's been there 3 times before, but the other 4 are visiting it for the first time. We're back at our desk once more with Moses and Fiflo, and it's a great victory, Jason, for Gambit. They played absolutely fantastic in the groups. Many people said, well, slightly easy games, but that's proof in the pudding right there.
Yeah, this was sick, and this was a Fnatic team that was looking good, and they actually had some dangerous pieces coming into this series that came alive. You know, JW had a very good first map, and they were able to outlast that. And also, it's from people that we don't always, you know, it wasn't the Adren just having phenomenal games. It wasn't him just carrying them. It was guys like Mo had good games. This guy, Zeus, he's gonna get a little bit overshadowed by other performances like Doja in the second map, obviously, and Mo in the first one. He had a great series, I thought. I thought he was a very, very good player for Gambit, just a rock for the squad. The problem with this second map for Fnatic is everything at different points looked like it was going so well. They had a great stretch to end the first half. Second half, they were finding themselves in the rounds. They just lost so many clutches.
They just
couldn't close out some of these rounds. They only, I mean, in the second half on their CT side, they got reset at least 3 times. You saw it towards the end. It was just scrapping pistols together and hoping it would work out. And just phenomenal performance from Doja on Inferno to really bring him over the finish line.
Yeah, his best performance for 3 years at a major, Robin, since he went 30 for 5 against Wolves at ESL 1 Cologne in 2014. Massive game from him. But the key, as Jason said, was those clutches. It was like we've praised them for their great team plan, their solidity, and the fact that they come together and they all chip in the frags. But this one actually came down to some independent rounds. I think we counted like 4 or 5 rounds and went down the clutches.
And it wasn't necessarily that Gambit was doing anything in particular either. I felt like Fnatic was most of the times the ones giving it away. Even in these are rounds where it's like 3-on-5 situations. You should never lose if you're Fnatic, right? But then you end up just over peaking one by one, and you end up going down. And Gambit took full advantage of that.
That's the double-edged sword of having a style where you give so much individual freedom to players and to like make decisions on their own based off what they're thinking. Is you will see mistakes like that come out from time to time, and they just happened at the wrong moments for Fnatic. I mean, if Valerian alluded to that 5-on-3 retake they lost, JW I think had the 2 opening kills. They had 3 players planting the bomb in the B bomb site, and 2 separate players, or 2 or 3 separate players tried to make their play through a smoke while their teammates were rotating over, like right when the bomb is being planted. Like, you have 35 seconds to play with. Let the smoke fade away, play the advantage, use the utility you've got, make sure those kills are traded. But when they're not traded, then all of a sudden you've given away all your advantages, because by the time your teammates rotate over, the Gambit players have already gotten themselves in better positioning to defend against it.
Even the initial first pistol round, right, on for Gambit's T side, the bomb was down. They didn't have to necessarily overpeak, and I think it was actually Olofmeister, so you just ended up pushing the side anyway. We're just like, what's the point? And then you end up losing that round, and that's if you look at throughout this whole throughout all of Inferno, that's exactly what happened. Every single time they end up losing these clutch situations.
And you want to talk about an important factor was in the pregame for this. Robin said they've got Dennis. You know, he brings you pistols. That's been the theme for Fnatic. This whole is that Dennis is going to bring you some pistols. 0 pistols won by Fnatic in this entire series. 2 close matches. If you win just 1 pistol, you might just be over the finish line yourselves.
Okay, let's bring in Adren. I think he's had time to calm down a little bit down in the player rest area. Adren, well done. Congratulations on the semi-final.
Thank you.
Terrific match. From your point of view, you headed into this. You obviously had a game plan in both of those maps. Is that the way that you thought the veto would work out and went to plan?
We actually didn't expect that they're gonna ban cash, so everything was. But we planned to play Train and Inferno, so it's okay for us.
Yeah, I figured it probably would. What do you put that down to? That you played them 3 times this year on both of those 2 maps, and you've lost all 3 games. Where has the turnaround come from?
I don't know. We felt a little bit nervous because we lost 2 quarterfinals for them in two majors, so I didn't feel like confident as it was before. Maybe that's why I didn't play my game, I don't know. But we just managed to win this, and now we are a step ahead, and I don't know. We got this now.
Yeah, no, I mean, you seem almost beside yourself that you're in the semi-final. I've got Moses and Fifth Lauren here. I'm sure they've got a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we spoke to you earlier in the tournament, I know you had mentioned that the boot camp you guys had coming into this was a little bit rocky. You didn't come into the event feeling so confident in everything you had laid out. What's been the biggest difference for you guys as a team? Is it more is the players playing better individually than they did at the boot camp? Is everyone kind of communicating a little bit better? Like, what's been the change from a bad boot camp leading into a great performance so far at the major?
Everything for us was bad in boot camp because we didn't play we didn't play hard playing and work hard. So in major it's different. You have to kill everyone. Either way, they're gonna kill you. So this is like simple. It's a major, so you have to win.
When you noticed that they ended up vetoing Cash instead of Cobblestone, was there any doubt in terms of should we just go with Cobblestone instead? Because for me at least, it's by far your best map.
Yeah, but we thought like we can play Cobble, but we decided to play Train because we've been prepared for that. So we decided to go as we planned, so everything worked good for us.
Now, you say you had everything planned, but I know the start of Train for you guys on the T side was a little bit rocky. You guys got down after winning the pistol round, but a lot of those like slow-paced tactics you guys tried to bring out were not successful. What was kind of the change-up that you guys had? Was that kind of according to plan? Because Zeus is known as being a great in-game leader for those slower tactic styles. I mean, it was picking up the pace part of like the adjustment that you guys thought needed to be made?
Actually, in the start of the game, we started to play our game, our strats, but it didn't work, so we decided to play more simple. It was like in Inferno, so it was on Train, like similar. Yeah. We started to play our strats, it didn't work, so we started to play just simple, nades B, nades A, and just execute, so it was okay for us. And it worked.
Stuff.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
Just play simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it seemed to work really well for you. You didn't have simple in the team, but you played simple, so I get it. It's good stuff. What did Dozier have for breakfast this morning, by the way?
I think Coke and burger.
Really, Coke and burger seems to be the key to winning the matches, because he played absolutely incredible today as well. So, yeah, brilliant. And we'll see the Kazakhstan flag in the semi-finals. Congrats again, Duran.
Thank you.
Well done.
Congrats.
Thank you.
There we go then. They are through to the semi-finals. No one had them in the quarters, let alone the semis. So Gambit become the first team through to the last four. Where does it leave Fnatic, though, after this major?
I'm not quite sure, because I still feel like they played pretty well throughout this tournament. They've
had some tough matches, haven't they?
They definitely have.
We spoke
right?
about it. Just the teams that had to play in the group stages.
Yeah, and I mean the biggest takeaway for me, and I think this should be the biggest takeaway from Fnatic as well, because they're always talking about the communication aspect, right? And you can clearly see there in both of these two maps that if they had a little bit more communication with the after plans, with the retakes of, maybe I shouldn't just push in by myself here. Maybe I should wait for my team to get ready, and let's try and do it together.
Yeah, I know. Part of my issue with what Fnatic has brought out in this series so far was the fact that even when they were like beating everyone, even when they were very, very good, they were still making plays that like just made you question them. That was like, why is this a play that's being made? And they would always make it work. They would always have success over it, right? They would still win despite some of the plays that they made that seemed so curious. And in this event, you could see whether it's, you know, you can't chalk it all up to individual players just not being at that peak level anymore, but those plays are going to bite you time to time, and it doesn't seem like they've gotten out of that pattern at the very least. But still definitely very dangerous players, and it's still, with a lot of these guys, they still have something in the tank. It's just a matter of putting it all together.
Yep, fitting all the puzzles, all the pieces into the puzzle. Let's take a look at the scoreboard and show you how this one shaked out in game number 2. Top of the scoreboard this time round, Dozier with 29 for 15 and 105.1 ADR, leading the way, having his, as I said earlier, best game in 3 years. But he really was on fire today.
I think, as odd as it is, the biggest standout to me of this scoreboard from Gambit is that Dren is like, I mean, across the series has the least kills of all the Gambit members. So the guy who was riding high throughout the group stages that got him here, and that's scary. Like if your best player, the guy who's brought you here, is not having,
and he's doing 2-0.
Wasn't a bad day, right? It's just he wasn't just skyrocketing. He wasn't the best player in the server. So I mean, if you're still going to be able to win with that, with Doja and Mo, the flip coin to that is, can you count on them, Doja and Mo, to do that in the semifinals?
Yeah, let's take a look at the MVP as well. It is, of course, Dozier from this one. I also want to give a shout out to Zeus as well, because in both games,
he's great.
He did really well. He got some key frags in there as well, but also delivered on numbers, which is not what we've always seen him do, is it?
No, definitely not. And I mean, just that one round that comes to mind for me is that clutch situation that he could have potentially won the 4 kills.
Yeah, don't pick up the orb.
Oh my God. That's
listen, he ends the series -1 in kill death, but he's got 92 ADR, which is the highest on his team. So massive impact from Zeus. And yeah, Doja on Inferno, I don't think you can argue with that one. So many clutch situations, he wins so impactful. That UMP round is pretty dirty that he had in the A-bomb site. Felt a little bad for Fnatic in that.
It's just one of those games. Everything is working, right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, I was planning on getting 1. I ended up getting 2.
Yeah.
It's like, great.
Oh look, I got a third.
Yeah.
Just keeps getting better and better for him, and gets better and better for his team as well. They are through to the semi-final. Next up, though, we have the match from hell. This one is not for the faint-hearted.
Coming up next, SK Gaming versus Astralis. Next matchup, casted by Anders and Sem.
and nobody cares.
From Dublin to Miami, from London to Sydney, everywhere in the world.
Everybody stand up right now.
Japan.